Good morning. Good morning. It's beautiful sunny Tuesday in California. Hello everyone. It's me, your navigator, Maxi. Welcome to the pre-show. I'm live. I posted about it online. Everything's good. Hello fellas. How y'all doing today? Hi Dale. Hi Dallas.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
I've been waiting for this.
We have a fun, silly time ahead of us today. As you can already tell from the title of this video, we're going to be working on my upcoming monster catching collecting TTRPG. I'm going all in on it. I've been getting ideas for it nonstop, so I told Kitty, you know what, I think I should just do it. And my wife, being the biggest enabler in the world, said, you should. Also, here are some ideas. And I'm like, dude. So that's why we're here today, by the way. Also, Dallas, I love you committing to the bit. Dallas says, hey, I wrote 400 different words today. You should search in tall grass. You know what? I just might. Other than that, had a bit of a... Yeah, you know, I had time. You know what I had? I had a time. But we're back. Life is good. I'm the eternal optimist here. That's me. That's right. Hi, Empoleon. Yo, Dale, trying out making a quesadilla. Dale, what kind of cheese you put in your quesadilla? Big important question. This is like necessary. I need to know. Sorry for bunking the mic. What kind of cheese are we talking with? Okay. What kind of cheese? It's easy to mess up. I use the taco mix. Okay. Perfect. You know, some mozzarella in there, a little bit of cheddar in there. You're good to go. Quesadillas are very, very good. My personal life hack, if anybody's wondering, if anybody shops at Trader Joe's has like little like hash brown patties that you can just get from the frozen section. You heat one of those up in the microwave, slap that inside of a quesadilla that you have folded in half. Perfect. Delicious. Recipes aside, the music's finished. It's coming. It just came back. The music lasts approximately like 4.5 minutes, which is usually about as long as, like, you know, I like the pre-show to be. Yo, hi May. Yo, Mace's dragging self from the game dev minds. Hey, good luck in there today, buddy. Hi, May.
Welcome back.
Yo, May's game deving? I didn't know May was game deving. Yo, hi, Prism. And with that, I think we're good to get to just jump into the main course of the show. At the count of 3, 2, 1. Up. Hello, everyone. It's me, Maxi, your navigator. Hey, what's up? Say hi to your mother for me. So, in case you don't know, hold up, I gotta resync the camera real quick, give me a second. There you go. In case you don't know who I am, hello. The name is Maxi. My pronouns are they, them. I am your navigator, game designer, artist, writer, author. A whole bunch of things, okay? And here I am. Have a highly sincronizada. I probably have. I'm gonna Google that right now. It sounds familiar. Okay, oh yeah. I have definitely had a sincronizada before, for sure. Mexican foods can have really, really funny names. In Mexico, we call parfaits, we call them bionicos. And I know what you're thinking. Maxi, bionicos? Like bionics? You call parfaits bionics. Yep. Yep. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? The TV shows such as The Bionic Man didn't really have that big of a kick in Mexico. It's like, oh, ¿en serio? ¿El hombre biónico? ¿Qué hace? ¿Trabaja en su tiendita? ¿Qué va a hacer? ¿Me va a poner fresa y crema en mi biónico? Yo, hi Citra!
Welcome back.
Nah, I'm sure Nintendo will be fine. I should be more concerned about the Pokemon Company. But anyways. Yo! Hell yeah. Oh yeah, May's working on a Magical Girl visual novel right now. Dude, that's so exciting. So happy for you. So, welcome to the stream. As the title of the stream and the thumbnail indicate, I will be, in fact, where did I put the thumbnail? I will be working on my monster catching TTRPG today. By the way, Maxi, did you have to literally put angry eyebrows on Nintendo over there? Yeah, originally I was gonna have Mario with a gun, but that felt a little bit too on the nose. That made me laugh way too hard. Thank you. I'm happy you liked it. It falls on the same energy as like this thumbnail. And also I'll show you already. I posted on the Discord, but you know what? Let's talk about schedules, by the way. Oh my god, that's so funny. May says, I found that really funny. Like, forward to my games group level too hard. Oh my god. Level of too hard. So in case you're wondering about streams this week, we have a really casual kind of week today. We're doing creative hours today, working on the Pokemon collecting, monster collecting TTRPG. By the way, if the Pokemon Company is watching these VODs after the fact, if I ever slip and I call it a Pokemon TTRPG, that's a mistake. That's absolutely a mistake. This is a monster collecting TTRPG. Inspired by Pokemon, yes, but it is not Pokemon. So today, creative hours. On Thursday, creative hours. And on Saturday, I am going to be playing the Dungans and the Daigans with Siska. I'm only gonna be there for half of the stream because I have things that I need to go to. But you know what? Compromises, right? You gotta get a button to bleep out the Pokemons. Dude, you're not even wrong. See-through is not even incorrect. By the way, I have already made the thumbnail for Thursday because I am a silly person. So here's the thumbnail for Saturday, for Thursday. By the way, I really like it. I really like the way that it came out. I really liked it. I think it came out. I think it came out really good. I really like it. I had a lot of fun just like looking over the original art and just like drawing it with a very harsh pixel pencil. Also, Maxi, is that the thinking face emoji? Yes, it is. You're very attentive. It's funny because like after I made this, I went and I looked up like a brush so I could do like dithering on Procreate. So I'm like, oh, what if I have like whenever I make like pixel style art, I have like a brush for dithering, you know, like the way that pixel art does shading. I did not like it. I went ahead and I tried coloring this with some of that dithering brush. Did not like it. Did not like it. Oh my god, Dallas. Oh yeah, Dale's birthday's on Saturday. Yo, preemptive happy birthday. I want to check one thing real quick. Are quotes working today? Because I feel like we are owed a couple quotes. It could also be a matter of perhaps Nightbot is not synced to my account. Let's go check Nightbot real quick before, because I hate the idea of missing on there's like 3 quotes, by the way, that are just lost to time now. They're just lost to time. Commands. Quote. It should work. Apparently it's not. Just Nightbot is just not working. Well, that's odd and strange. Oh well. What are you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? Gabagoo. So, once again, the plan for this week is creative hours. Then, creative hours. Then Dungans and Daigans on Saturday. In case anybody is wondering, Maxi, no Chronomia trigger, Maxi? Maxi, what the hell, Maxi? No Chronomia trigger? Where's the Chronomia trigger thumbnail? No Chronomia Trigger this week, Maxi. What the hell? Nomia's taking a week off because they've been streaming too much. And also real life stuff. So no Chronomia Trigger. If you would like, once again, to see me walking Nomia through the greatest role-playing game of all time, next week. Hopefully. We'll see. I mean, it's really not up to me. Hello, Key.
Welcome back.
Yo, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Piotr? Piotr. Hello, welcome in. Welcome to the stream. Peter, you think it's Peter? Peter? Maxi, why are you singing with an accent? Well, I already have an accent. It comes built in. I have one of those. It is Peter. Ah, welcome in, Peter. Thank you for joining today. Yo. Hello, welcome in, Sapphire. If this is your first time, please consider checking the rules in the description. Or perish. I haven't gotten to say that in a while, so I wanted to do it. That being said, you know what? We have a few new viewers, so I feel like I have to do the ritual where I let you know that this stream will feature silliness and in-jokes and hilarity and game design. So here's me properly apologizing for the terrible humor you will be about to witness. There you go. Yo, welcome in, Dean. Please check the rules in the description. Oh yeah, I get that, Dallas, for sure. So once again, the schedule for this week: creative hours today, creative hours on Thursday, and that's it. So with that, let me grab my timer real quick, because on this stream, we work in 20 to 25 minute chunks, taking a break every single cycle, because taking breaks is good and important and based. Excuse me, streamer, I heard taking breaks is based. Yo, kids. You know what's cringe as hell? Not taking breaks, not drinking water. Kendra, oh my god, Kendra isn't even here. I'm already making fun of Kendra. Kendra isn't even here already, and I'm already making fun of them. Anyway, shoutouts to Kendra, friend of the channel. Anyways, 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to the first cycle. If you would like to be creative alongside us, you're welcome to do so. Citra says, I must become uncringe. It's true. Screw you. You must take a break. Yeah, thank you for the emojis. All right, so there's a bunch of stuff here. So here's some notes from before. So I am taking this monster capture collecting TTRPG as a chance to expand on the system from my latest tabletop role-playing game, DSM. I'll find you an image so you can see it in case you have not seen what DSM is. Yo! Oh, that makes sense. Hi, Star Meadows. Welcome in, then. Yo! Oh my god, a member of the Discord. I love that. I'm used to people. I am used to people finding my streams and then finding my stuff. So seeing it happen backwards is hilarious to me. So yeah, I made a game called Deus Ex Machina about robots and killing fascists, and I want to adapt the combat and gameplay loop of this game into something else. Improve it, make it better. Oh hell yeah! I had a lot of fun with DSM. I cooked. So I want to adapt some of those mechanics into something else. And we have, let me just find. So we came up with goals and things that the system does best. Let me actually increase the font size in case anybody actually wants to read. So one of the main mechanisms in DSM is the idea of clocks. There is a central clock in. Got it. There's a clock system. Every time you take actions, you mark segments of the clock. When you get to specific special segments, the triangle and the square, things happen. This mechanism is good because oh yeah, I should clarify. This is a solo TTRPG, so you play it by yourself. You don't need a GM or other players, which is kind of what I love. I love making solo games. So This particular mechanism gets overcomes one barrier in solo play, which is the feeling of not knowing what needs to happen next. So by just literally telling the player, hey, you got to the triangle, congratulations, time to fill the board with enemies. I feel like that gets over the hump. Yo, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Dallas, please do share links. So that's one of the things that DSM does very well. Another mechanism that it does really well is that all of the mechanisms themselves are linked to in the form of cards, which represent the parts of your giant robot. There you go. All of the mechanisms exist within these cards. So when the player is playing the game, all they gotta do is look at the cards they have, and that will tell them what they can do as actions. Instead of looking at a whole notebook worth of like spells or possible actions, reviewing the rules manual for combat. Instead, your options for how you can play and interact with the game exist in a tangible, compact format, preferably in front of you. Now, things that I want to improve on, things that I want to expand on for a better version of the DSM system. I want to add more room for role-playing. There was definitely not as much room for role-playing in the original DSM, or as it stands right now, I would like to expand on that. And also, a new, more formalized system for game modes, which I'm calling Journeys. It is essentially game modes. So you may be thinking, Maxi, what's a game mode? You mean like you boot up a game and it says single player and multiplayer? Well, kind of like that. When you really think about it, role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games, such as Iron Valley, Iron Sworn, even One Page Left and DSM. These games have modes of play. Situations in which you are engaging with particular aspects of the system. For a very general point of view, you could consider that in Dungeons and Dragons, when you're engaged with combat, you're engaged with one mode of play. The rules for combat only apply when you are engaged in combat. The rules for other things don't count while you're in combat mode. And what I would like is to create formalized modes of play for this. Essentially telling the player, hey, you're now in combat mode. Here's the rules for combat mode. All the rules are in this specific small section of the book. Very compact, easy to parse, easy to understand. When the time comes that I rework Iron Valley, it will definitely have more of these modes of play, these journeys. Because there's definitely, although I very much love Iron Valley and I did a really good job with it, let's be entirely honest, there's still an awful lot of players wondering, well, what do I do now? Well, what do I do? Peter says, I really like how you don't want to focus on only combat. Thank you. Well, one of my big things for me when I'm designing games is that I'm first and foremost, much like I do with my fiction, I am making games that I want to play. First and foremost. Peter says, also Iron Valley update confirmed. Got him. I'm like one of 5 people waiting for it. I can assure you, you are not one of 5 people. There's an awful lot of people waiting for that update. There's an awful lot of people. I get comments like every day. The other day, I had someone asking for a physical edition of the book. And I'm like, it's eventually, not now. Not now, definitely not now. But, in time. So, let's summarize this with a horizontal line. So, big takeaways from DSM into this new game idea. Big takeaways, okay? First and foremost, clocks are a must. They push players to keep playing. I want to make a note, though, that players do require an off-ramp to basically be able to stop play. I feel like if you develop a system where you have a hard-coded gameplay loop, there isn't an off-ramp for players to say, I'm done playing for tonight. So definitely, I want to make a design note here of make sure there is an off-ramp for players to feel satisfied and call it a day. So the other big takeaway is, of course, mechanisms are the mechanisms with which you engage with the rules of the game exist in a very compact format. For this game, there won't be cards because I feel like I need a little bit more space than cards. Dallas says that's healthy. That's healthy and nice to consider. How cozy are we going with this? Not that cozy. I want to make that very clear. I'll tell you the name of the game. The name that I have at the moment. We have you guys, you don't know. My lovely wife and I, Lady Kirin, my lovely wife and I, we have had several meetings talking over concepts, general ideas, writing down expectations. Because you need to understand that I am a very level-headed person. I am not gonna bite off more than I can chew. I'm too old for that. I'm too old to bite off more than I can chew. So there are some concessions that I have to make design-wise. But we have so much to cover. I have ideas for how this game should feel. I don't think it's going to be. If there's like a ranking for like coziness, it is definitely not Animal Crossing coziness. You know what? The coziness meter, the coziness range, on a scale from what, like 10 cozy, which is like Animal Crossing. Very cozy, nothing bad ever happens. People don't die, nobody dies, nothing bad ever happens. On a scale from Red Blue to Arceus, that's funny. That's actually a really funny way to think about it. I actually think it's more Arceus than it is Red and Blue. Now let's say on a coziness scale, we have Animal Crossing. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna tell you within the context of my own games. Okay. The coziest game that I have is Iron Valley. Iron Valley is the coziest game that I have. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The least cozy game that I have is 100% DSM. That is not a cozy game. That's a game that demands that you feel bad. I'm gonna say that probably like a 1 is one page left. Because for some people, horror is cozy. For most, it isn't. That's why it's not the most uncozy. I would say like at a 5, perfectly balanced is roll for novel. And I'm gonna say like a 7 is probably fool, because some people really. Yeah, I'm actually gonna make it like an 8. What other games have I made? This seems like all the games that I've made. So where does this game would fit into the coziness range? I would probably say underneath fool. I'd say like a 7. I would say probably like a 7. It's not super cozy. There is an inherent, danger in the setting, and I feel like it's required for there to be danger. Nonetheless, mechanisms are limited to cards. Mechanisms are limited to small spaces and easily parsed. As I mentioned before, I don't think I can fit all the information you need to know about a creature inside of a single card. Because with a robot part, you can be like, yeah, for sure, this is the arm, this is what it looks like. It has one ability and a name. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. With the creatures in a monster collecting game, I just don't feel like you can. I feel like there's just so much more complexity. So we're gonna have to worry about that. Dallas says you have to fight your robot dad at the end, but he gives you a Tears in the Rain speech. I will say, like, if we're looking about tone, and I know what you're thinking, Maxi, get on with the point. This is the design, by the way. Talking about refining my feelings about the game, this is game design right now. And if you ask me, like, what like the feeling of the game is, I talked about this last stream, but I want to reiterate it because it's been kind of like the mantra that I keep repeating to myself. I want to capture the sense of wonder from that specific moment in Generation 1 where the player leaves Pewter City. The space between Pewter City and Cerulean Town, or is it Pewter Town? There's no way that place is a city, right? It's like 3 houses. Anyways, from Pewter to Cerulean, that range, when you go up the mountain, through the mountain, and all the way out, is like the longest stretch of wilderness in the entirety of Generation 1. And if that, to me, playing it as a child, really felt like an adventure, really felt like you were out by yourself. I wouldn't say Palette to Cerulean. No, I don't think so. It's Pewter to Cerulean, I think. Because Palette to Pewter, there's of course Viridian Forest, and it definitely feels like, you know, like you're stepping away from safety, but the Pokemon Center is like 2 minutes away. Like, there's a moment when you're in the middle of Mount Moon, if you want to get back to the Pokemon Center, like, there is like a point in which you have to ask yourself, am I gonna go back through Mount Moon and endanger dying along the way just to heal up to get back here? Or, like anyone who's ever been in a dungeon crawler can attest to, do we just push through? Would you say a bug catcher is a threshold guardian, Ducks? I mean, like, you know, I mean, not any bug catcher, just the one that keeps you from going out of the Viridian Forest. So I want to capture that sense of adventure, and that sense of adventure is actually kind of, to me, when I think of games that made me feel that way, I think of like Digimon World for the PS1. Except Digimon World for the PS1 kind of like, you know, there's some stuff in there that is really just not my vibe. Did nobody talk about Analog Man? Shut up, no one talk about Analog Man? Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure, Peter. Oh yeah. Maxi, what do you think of Hey You Pikachu? I own Hey You Pikachu. It's a bad game. It's a bad game. Interesting concept. Doesn't play well. Oh, I'm surprised they haven't brought it back. They really could just bring it back. There is a lot of times in the Pokemon world where like some things just don't make sense because of a, you know, just because it's a video game. Like, what do you mean no one can go back into Mount Moon? That makes no sense. So mechanisms are limited to small spaces and easily parsed. In this case, instead of carts, they will be, what is the word for the way that characters work in a game like Powered by the Apocalypse? They're called, not handouts, what's the name of it? What do you call the player classes in games Powered by the Apocalypse? What is the word for that? What is the word for it? Playbooks! Thank you! Playbooks! Thank you! Points to Dallas and Empoleon. Thank you. Playbooks. I knew the word was in there, in my brain somewhere. The third point, of course, I want more room for role-playing. More room for role-playing. Because of the built-in mechanism in the clock, I think basically just asking the player to I don't want to say forcing the player to roleplay, but I feel like instituting some sort of formal role-playing moves, I feel like that will just help, I think. Because, again, this game is sitting... It's sitting like right next, if not maybe a little bit more crunchy than DSM in the way that I'm envisioning it. It will definitely be focused on combat and exploration, but you know, you're gonna have some roleplay in there. I remember Dale says, I once saw gameplay of Hey You Pikachu, and I can have confirmed that the mic never responds. I remember reading the Mexican magazines talking about it, and they were talking about how, like, you know, clearly Pikachu does not speak Spanish. As we all know, Pikachu does not speak Spanish. But the reviewers in Mexico for, of course, Club Nintendo, yo, rip. Rest in peace, you wonderful magazine. For the reviewers were saying that, you know, they knew English, so they were literally swearing at Pikachu, and it was still not responding. Oh, it's popping here. Yo, hi Kendra, hello. Hey boy.
Hey boy.
Dallas says, regarding Hey You Pikachu, I imagine it was trained on native Japanese speakers and possibly adult men. Yeah, I vividly remember reading the Nintendo Club magazine, and them saying in Spanish that they called Pikachu a big ugly rat, and somehow he reacted to that. Which, you know, I mean, like, I would too if someone called me a big ugly rat. What you mean ugly? What you mean ugly? A rat, perhaps, yes. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Sapphire. Or Star. You know, Star makes more sense. Yeah, I definitely get that, Star, for sure. Like, if they made it now, with the voice recognition we have now, it would absolutely work. I actually wonder, because it seems like such a, like, a no-brainer to, like, wrong expression. It feels like a no-brainer to do it, so I wonder if there's been attempts to do it, but just, they haven't been able to nail it, you know? You just know someone at the Pokemon company is like, bro, we did this already. Let's do it again. People love Hey You Pikachu. More room for role-playing. Create spaces for RPing inside of the game to make it feel effortless. Just ask the player what they envision. Included with the Switch 2 camera to sweeten the pot. Dallas, you're cooking. Dallas is cooking. Dallas, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop posting lest you break NDA some more. When do we get the cross-examination? Oh my god. Kendra is absolutely so, like, court-pilled right now. Isn't there a Club Nintendo's version of Nintendo Power? Yeah, it was Nintendo. Club Nintendo. Club Nintendo. It was the best, man. Anyways. So the last point, I would like to just, journeys are the crux of this system, of this game. They are standardized gameplay modes to ease solo play. Oh my god, Kendra. Yeah, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I love you, Kendra. I love you. You silly trans boy. So with these ideas now present here, do I want to put emojis here? Nah, it's fine. So I feel like what I want to do, because for me right now, this project is a large ball of yarn that I am pulling out on some things, trying to pull out on it to make it come unraveled. Peter says, would the gameplay loop be like roleplay travel combat? Perhaps, but I feel like focusing on journeys might be better. Having, like, you know, you are in this game in this mode of play, then you can switch to another mode of play, you know, at certain segments. I don't know how to describe it. Kendra says in chat, a friend of mine was telling me one of their friends about a trans mask boy they're seeing. Their friend went, oh yeah, blue hair, met them last night. We saw a movie. Yeah. sorry. I pressed the wrong button. Please pretend you didn't hear the pussy out sound. By the way, this stream is 18 plus, please. If you're a child, please stop watching this stream, please. This is not daycare, I'm sorry. That's so funny. That is so funny. By the way, for those who don't know, first off, Kendra is a boy with blue hair. But also, everyone keeps framing Kendra as being the person someone is dating, which is it just goes to show, you know, Kendra really do be living that New York sitcom life. Anyways, so what are the modes of play? What are the modes of play in this game? Maxi, you can just say what it's called, Maxi. No, I'm shy. What are the modes of play in this game? Let me skip this song. I'm not so happy with this song. What's the next song on the list? 7 p.m. from Animal Crossing. Good enough. All right, so what are the modes of play? Now, this is where we're getting to the nitty-gritty of game design, by the way, because I have ideas for how I want this game to function, but I'm still working out some of the kinks. There's an awful lot. There's an awful lot. So I feel like the best way to start is, what do you do in this game? And I feel like I talked about this before, but the setting that I'm envisioning for this world is a huge world, much bigger than Earth, where humanity only occupies tiny little pockets of space. One of my biggest gripes is that the sense of adventure in Pokemon games, from the beginning, by the way, I don't want anybody to be like, oh yeah, new Pokemon games are not as good as the old ones. No, from the beginning, Pokemon has failed this fantasy for me. The Pokemon games are so human-centric that it doesn't really feel as much of an adventure. It really doesn't feel like you're out in the wilderness exploring. It really just feels like you are, in the pockets of wilderness allowed by heavy urbanization, which is hilarious if you consider, Pokemon C2A, because it's literally like, hello, we have made areas where Pokemon can live inside this city, and I'm like, well, hot damn. Well, definitely not really feeling like an adventure here, really feeling like I'm going to my local park. Nonetheless, so I feel, yeah, it's gonna be the way that I envision the setting, much like Peter said in chat. It's more like you're literally in the deep wilderness. It's very much like if you're out in the wilderness, okay? Yeah. See, again, that was called the wild area, I think, in Pokemon Scarvi. It was the wild area. No, not Scarlet. No, I was thinking of Sword Shield. Yeah, I mean, there is some of that in Scarvi. There's some of that in Scarvi. It definitely feels bigger, but it's still so small. Let's be honest, okay? Kind of makes me think of Breath of the Wild vibes. Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that. Yo, Pokemon Troze, yo, Dale's got good taste. Good love, but Pokemon Troze. I keep wanting to play it. I have it on my 3DS. I keep wanting to play it. By the way, the timer's gonna go off in approximately 10 seconds. So I'm gonna call the cycle off right now. So the one thing that I want to say, by the way, Maxi, are you doing research for this project, Maxi? You know it. The wife and I, my lovely wifey and I, it's also in preparation for Pokemon ZA, because when Pokemon X and Y first came out, I really only played like the first 2 hours, and then, just in the flurry of life and being a busy human being, I was like, I don't have time to play. We decided to start playing Pokemon X and Y together. Kitty's beaten the game like multiple times. It's my first time actually making it past, and I know exactly when the furthest I've made it. The last time I played, I made it to the Snorlax just in front of the daycare. That's as far as I got the first time I played Pokemon X/Y. So yesterday while we were playing, we got past that part. So it's a brand new world for me. Maxi, what's your Pokemon party right now? So when I play Pokemon games, let me get up and stretch actually. So when I play Pokemon games, I like to only use Pokemon I've never used before. I like to try out new Pokemon every single time. There we go. So, the last time I played Pokemon X and Y, I picked Chespin as my starter. I love Chespin, I love Quilladin, I love Chestnut, like Dreadnought, I think. I love them. I think they're adorable. So I could not pick Chespin anymore. I picked Froogie. Not Froogie. No, Grookey is the monkey. I tried the frog. I've never had a Greninja, so I figured, you know what? How come I know the second stage is Frogadier? Froakie, thank you. Frogadier and then Greninja. I've never had them. Trying them out. I also, fun fact, if you follow me on Blue Sky, Maxi freaking loves Slowpoke. I am collecting Slowpoke Pokemon cards. Why? Because my wife got me into it. Got me into Pokemon cards, and honestly, I've been collecting Pokemon cards forever. I'm just making it an actual thing now. Here's some of the pics from my local little game store that I went to. That's right, that is a first edition Slowpoke from Fossil Set. That card is right now 27 years old.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Feeling old yet? Feeling old yet? By the way, yeah, this Sabrina Slowpoke, by the way, was last printed in 1998. So this card is also 27 years old. Maxi, wow, this must have cost you a fortune. Those cards were 50 cents. Yo, Citra, oh my god. Sorry, Kitty really loves the Pocket Monsters and has shown me some videos. Should I open it? Or should I keep it sealed? That's so funny. Yeah, Kitty really loves the Pocket Monsters. She's shown me like all the movies. It's great. It's great. Now, Star said, I've recently played Super Mario Mon and really enjoyed it. Actually, I believe my good friend Nomi had played a little bit of Mario Mon. That looks really fun. I've never actually tried ROM hacks, but I've been actually, as part of research for this game, I actually got a bunch of ROM hacks and I've been, trying them out. I believe I started Pokemon Pisces, which is an Emerald ROM hack that completely re-envisions Hoenn, and that looked really fun. Looking forward to playing some more of that. Amidst trying out a bunch of ROM hacks, I also booted up Pokemon Pinball, Ruby, and Sapphire. And I was like, I'm gonna play this for 2 seconds. And then Kitty was like watching over my shoulder. It was late at night. And I guess I'm just goated because next thing I knew it was 30 minutes later and my wife was asleep on my shoulder. So you know what? I guess I'm just that good. I'm just that good. So what do you do in this game? Well, I think that there are human settlements that you go to. You go to human settlements. You go to human settlements where you do things you can only do there. You go to human settlements. What do you do there? I'm gonna assume that what do you do in cities in Pokemon? You heal your Pokemon for free. That's not really like a mechanic that I'm particularly concerned with, but I feel like cities will have services that allow you to like customize parts of your creatures. Human settlements have systems for customizing your party / yourself. All right, so you go to human settlements. I'm gonna put a little CD emoji here for that. Can I get a better CD emoji for this, please? One that actually, hey, yeah, it looks like something. It is set to A on Switch 1. It is going to be on Switch 1 and Switch 2 as well. The city setting has me interested. That's the city setting from Pokemon X and Y. It is essentially Paris. How OP is Bunnelby in X and Y? I don't think he's just a guy. Genetic engineering, Bill confirmed playable. Oh my god. You know, we're never gonna talk about how Bill just turned into a Pokemon, huh? We're just gonna not talk about that, huh? No, it's the Paris one. I mean, like, yeah. Well, Kendra, listen, okay? Just sit tight. Eventually, they'll remake the previous generation, which is New York, and then you'll be happier, okay? I want to go to the bodega. I want to take the underground. Yeah, Kendra wants to play the New York City one. You know, Pokemon Black and White is right there. And I'm sure your computer can play emulators, okay? Yo, Nintendo, don't listen. Hey, Nintendo, please leave a like on the stream, by the way, if you wouldn't mind. It would actually help a lot. So you go to human settlements, right? So, now this is, I feel like before I can talk about the next thing, I feel like we need to address the big elephant in the room. Dear bestie, bestie lovey, you know I'm in a nightmare and we'll try and get it for console. Kendra, Oh my god, Kendra. Oh my god, Kendra. Kendra, you can just play. You don't have to own it on physically. Okay. Kendra. I'm off. Here's a deal alert. Okay, offering. I have an offering for you, Kendra. Okay. Hear me out. Okay. If I send you, Kendra's gonna say no to this. If I send you a DS cartridge that has Pokemon Black and or White in it, will you play it? If I send you a cartridge that has those games in it, you can play them on console. Is that better than is that satisfactory? Please, Kendra, I beg you to play it. Honestly, possibly. Like the thing is that Kendra doesn't even know. The moment Kendra sees N, Kendra's gonna be like, holy crap, I'm gay.
Dude, that's gay.
Because I just looked it up on eBay and it's oddly steep. Yeah, Pokemon games are never going to be cheap. That's why I'm gonna send you a flashcard with all those games in it. The best part is that it just runs natively. Anyways, back to game design. So, let's talk about, I'm moving a little bit closer so we can talk about the elephant in the room, okay? So, Maxi, how are we gonna deal with creature creation, Maxi? Are you gonna create 151 different creature species so that whoever wants to play the game doesn't have, can just, be like, okay, I'm walking into a new zone, Maxi. What monsters are in there? How are you gonna tackle that, Maxi? So, I think that there is nothing I can do as a human being. Thank you, Empoleon. Dallas says, I'm making like 6 examples for my game and the rest is tables. So, I would like to encourage people to create custom content for this game. So people can create their own monsters and submit them as custom content so people can just, also use them in their own games. I feel like that would be fun. But there is no way that I, as a single person, can create enough content to keep any solo player entertained for a large amount of time without basically ruining the rest of my life, committing myself to making content for this game for the rest of my life. So I think that the best course of action would be, let me just literally just copy this. How do we handle monsters? How do we handle the monsters? Excuse me? There we go. Don't mind me just bashing my mouse against the computer, by the way. Kendra says, Chadpole, you're so dangerous. Yeah, Peter says, custom creatures would be so much fun to exchange with friends. See, I want to encourage that kind of fun, Kendra says, I'm in blue hair, sweatpants, neon pink shirt, goth Crocs. Will I be carded at the liquor store? They are supposed to card you, Kendra. That's how it works. Especially when you look like you're 13. I gotta move that button, man. I gotta move. Maxi, why did you almost press the pussy out button twice? It's because the position of the pussy out button is where I have my laughter button when I'm doing Discord streams. I'm gonna literally move it right now because I keep pressing it by mistake. I'm just gonna put it over here. There you go. There you go. So now when I do this, there you go. Perfect. I like that star. Kendra says, I hate when I press the pussy button by mistake. How fucking dare you? How dare you? Let me add that under the list of quotes. Add this quote. If you think you're not gonna get quoted, you're a clown, Kendra. Kendra Purple Face, PhD. Kendra 2025. Chat. Oh, you know what? Actually, you know what? Start a poll. Will Kendra get carded at the store? Hell yeah. No way. There you go. Fellas, here's I put up a poll, by the way, so we can figure out ahead of time if Kendra is going to get carded at the liquor store. Why is this guy Six Segun just tail whipping? Yo, you getting anybody else getting tail whipped? I like Empoleon saying earlier that implies that Kendra's hair is like part of their clothes. Yeah. Are we also betting? Not today. Okay, how do we handle the monsters, okay? Some will be pre-made. Some will be pre-made by me. Some will be community created. Create it. Let's just be honest, most will be player created. Yo, hi Chippy!
Welcome back.
Hi Chippo! Chippo says, I'm too Monhun brained, I keep hearing carded and I'm like, why is the liquor store beefing with Kendra? Why aren't they? Kendra says, I'm famously like 98% silver, so for the first time I got carded was for a DVD copy of Aliens at Walmart. Kendra, be honest, did this happened like last week? Yo, hell yeah! By the way, Dale, don't forget that you can pick up a Pikachu in that forest like right away at the beginning. Yeah, Peter's right. Peter says, with enough moving parts tables, player-created monsters would give you that whoa when you see a new mon. For sure. So thank you for bringing that up, Peter. That's actually one of the things that I wanted to... I was talking with my incredible, beautiful wife, and we were talking about how me as the game developer, I can't give you the sense of surprise when a creature evolves. Or when you find a new creature, I can't give you that surprise, because if you're playing with creatures that I've already made, you will already know what they look like. In fact, you will already even know what they evolve into. So I feel like the closest I can get to giving you the sense of discovery and wonder is by having players create their own creatures. So of course that means that there must be a system in this game. Give me like DNA. As be a creature creation system / mode. There's a mode where you create the creature. So I was thinking with my wife, and if there's a lesson that I picked up from designing Iron Valley, is that asking someone to sit down and roll on 20 tables to create a character is not good. Okay, listen, I had the best of intentions, but definitely one of the pieces of criticisms that I got on Iron Valley, and it's 100% valid, is that sometimes if you ask someone to roll a bunch of dice, it all kind of gets like blended. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, one could say, okay, Maxi, so there's gonna be less dice rolling, and I don't think I can get away with less dice rolling in this game for monster generation, because you want them all to be unique. What are you talking about? Oh, sorry. I thought Peter's comment was like related. Peter says, honestly, one of my great Pokemon memories was being like, whoa, when seeing the Trapinch line. Also, I'm a boring person. I thought those two were connected and I was gonna beef, because I'm like, Trapinch is great. What are you talking about? Flygon? Flygon, man. Flygon. It's cooking. It's cooking. It's cooking. There are surprises in there, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, like, I want to give room for players to envision like their own like evolutionary trees, their own variants, because like I like the idea that I give you, there will be creatures that come in with the book and more than I will add later as custom content. But I like the idea that the player is like, actually, this one is going to evolve into something else, and I feel like that's dope. I feel like that's exciting. That brings the fantasy of seeing new creatures. I guess we should write down the fantasies in this game, huh? Peter said, I like tables. I printed some of them. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. People keep asking me, you know, hey, Maxi, when are you going to make a printed version of Iron Valley? And I'm like, listen, let's be honest, okay? Once you pick up the rules, you don't need to look at the rule book. You really don't. You only need the random tables, and that I strongly suggest printing. Just print the random tables and you'll be fine for playing Iron Valley. So let's make another section. What was that? Oh, that was Kendra's quote! Oh my god, I was like, who said that? Who said that? Yeah. Oh my god. One of my favorite things about Iron Valley is all the custom content people made. You know, like that made me really, really happy. People created solutions for my bad design choices.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so what are the fantasies of a monster collecting game? And I feel, of course, clearly, the sense of wonder and whoa you feel when you encounter a new little guy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, 100%. I feel like another fantasy of a monster collecting game is a deep, intricate, rewarding combat system. We'll be talking about the combat system in a moment, by the way, for people who are like, yeah, Maxi, all this roleplay stuff is fun, but what about the combat, Maxi? I have ideas for the combat. Just you freaking wait. Just you wait. Just you wait. Aw, thank you, Peter. Great artist creates. Great artists integrate community content into the main game. Yeah. Dale's catching a pansier? Rip. Not the monkey. Sorry. When Kendra finally plays Generation 5, they'll realize the disdain towards the monkeys. By the way, hello there, person watching this stream. If you are like the #1 monkey defender, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. No, you know, just leave a like. Just leave a like, okay? My wife and I, we have a personal disdain towards the Panseer, Pansage, and Panpour lines. So what other fantasies? I guess the fantasy of customizing your monsters' moves to fit your strategies. Let's go with that. So, you know, once again, in order to fulfill the fantasy of a sense of wonder on WoW, we must have a creature creation engine. In order to have a deep, you know, this is the easy one. To have a deep, intricate, rewarding combat system, leave it to me. I'm not flexing, but I know how to make this work. DSM gives me the perfect, you know, LOL, DSM does most of the heavy lifting. I believe in you. Thank you, Peter. Customizing your monster's moves. So this means that aside from the creatures being heavily randomized so that they are unique and cool and different, they must also have levers and things you can modify. So monsters come with design levers we can pull on to make them mechanically unique and customizable. This is getting cut off on my big old head, don't worry about it. If anybody comes up with more fantasies of what makes a Pokemon game good, please let me know. I do want to say I'm not just looking at Pokemon, I'm also looking a lot at Digimon. Digimon also has a very, very soft spot in my heart. I very much love Digimon. I think about it all the time. If anything, no worries. I take questions at all times, Peter. Peter asks, would the Mons help with exploration? At this moment, I'm not 100% sure because I don't want to have, welcome back to Pokemon Problems 101, right? Am I going to have HMs? Are you going to need HMs to transport yourself around across places? Are you going to need a monster with flight in order to be able to transport yourself across the world? I'm not sure. Those parts are pretty gamey, like video game-y, and I'm not sure if I like them, We will see. Just so I can finish this train of thought, by the way. What do you do in this game? You go to human settlements and do things there. Yo, hi, Faith! Hello!
Welcome back.
Interesting. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. As Peter is saying, I think it's better to have something like the monster helps you with X instead of smashing your face into a wall that needs a specific key to open. 100%. So, some sort of way of creating monsters. I have a great idea for this, by the way. Just you wait. So there's, of course, must also be a combat system. Again, just you wait. And we will fill up the rest of this. I almost feel like I need a diagram for the way that I'm seeing this in my head. How would I draw this in here? Okay. You know what? We need an exploration mechanism. Give me the camp at night emoji. Thank you. Exploring the wilderness. And in the wilderness, you create creatures and you battle creatures. There you go. There also probably needs to be like a way to improve your pets, your monsters. We will get to that. So, as I mentioned before, one of the big hurdles in designing this game is that I have to figure out a way to make monster creation easy to understand, complex enough to make a lot of fucked up little guys, and also mechanically interesting. Maxi, how are you going to achieve all those things? By being incredible. So there's already, sidebar to the sidebar. You know what? Give me a table. Give me a table with just one cell. There we go. Yeah, no, that's true. Fade Leaf is correct. Fade Leaf, building on what Peter said earlier. Overworld obstacles in Pokemon usually only have one way past them, and in tabletops there aren't any pre-made solutions, hopefully. I mean, like, let's be entirely honest. The reason why an obstacle like a giant rock or a tree that you need to cut or rock smash, the reason those work in video games is because you can't just walk around them. You know what I'm saying? If we were doing a tabletop role-playing game version of Pokemon Red and Blue, there is no reason why the player couldn't just hop over the fence that disconnects Mount Moon from Cerulean City. There's no reason why I would have to make you wait until you get cut for you to get over the fence between Cerulean City and the route that goes down to Vermilion. Yeah, and also, as Peter just said, in TTRPG, you can always just walk away. It's true. It's absolutely true. So, I think instead of thinking of, again, one of the big issues with translating, because what I'm doing is that I'm taking a source material and I'm adapting it into a different medium from what it normally is. Now, of course, I'm not the first one. I'm not the first one at all. In fact, let me go find the video. I was thinking about doing this forever, by the way. But then I watched a lovely video on YouTube. I'm gonna go find it. It was someone talking about Pokemon TTRPGs. It was there you go. It was Henry Kathman, The Weird World of Pokemon TTRPGs, a 42-minute video. Delightful, absolutely delightful. Here's the video that I watched. You're welcome to go check it out yourselves if you would like. In that video, he covered Pokemon United, Pokemon Tabletop, Pokemon RPG version, I think. Very, very fun, insightful video. I knew about most of those, but there were some that I didn't, and that's what you gotta do research. Peter says, part of me kind of hopes that the monster creation system would have a difficulty system, like an easier version for normal people and then the standard version for us stable freaks. So my particular thought about that is that I don't think we would, I'm not sure if I would need to do that. I think the solution that I have in mind might kind of help get us over that hump, but we'll get there, we'll get there. That is true, yeah. Faith Leaf brings up another problem that, by the way, the timer's gonna go off in 30 seconds, don't get spooked, by the way. One big thing in Pokemon is the elemental weaknesses, and I want to make this very clear right now. There's not gonna be like an 18 type matchup chart you're gonna have to memorize. That's a little silly. We're not gonna do that. You know what? Let the elephant in the room, where we're going with a need types. Yes. Oh my god, thank you, Peter, thank you so much. I got that reference, thank you. We were talking about Back to the Future literally last stream. So the elephant in the room, okay? The biggest enemy to this project, and I'm gonna talk about it while I stretch. By the way, if you're watching the stream, if you've been watching already for an hour, get up and stretch, you bozo. Jesus Christ. Just get up and stretch, it's not that hard. If you're able, of course. You know, and if you don't want, I know, maybe you don't want to. I'm just saying, just take a second to get up and stretch. Star says, I watched that video. It's good. It's a really good video. You know, I don't agree with everything that was said in that video. Star says, I can't stretch, I'm riding in a car. What about your arms? Okay. Dallas says, okay, got him. Okay, so the big elephant in the room is that a lot of the mechanical depth that Pokemon does exists only because it's a goddamn video game. Faith Leaf brings up a really good point and reminds me that Monster Rancher exists, Lamau. Pokemon focuses on collecting, Digimon focuses on training. Monster Rancher focuses on breeding. Most of them also have a different emphasis on battles. Faith Leaf, you're correct, but actually the focus of Monster Rancher is seeing what fucked up little guy I get when I put in Will Smith's debut rap album in my PS1. We have all done that. Yeah, you know, like what happens when I put shares, what's the name of the album that has Do You Believe in Life After Love? Whatever, you put that album in your PS1, see what happens? Maxi, explain the joke. Okay, so there was a game series called Monster Rancher, okay? There was a game called Monster Rancher, okay, for the PS1, and the thing about this game is it was a monster collecting game, except that you generated monsters by putting a CD in your PS1. You would pop open the hood of the PS1, take out your Monster Rancher CD, and you would insert a different CD, perhaps a music CD, usually a music CD, DVDs were not around back then, and you would let it read the disc, and it would take data from that disc to generate a brand new monster. Now, I know what you're thinking. Holy crap, it had like algorithmic generation? No, it just read the numbers and it assigned them to one of the specific monsters already in the game. Don't be silly. That was pretty dope. Wait, that's actually pretty cool. It is. Unfortunately, the designs in Monster Rancher sucked. That's why it didn't take off. Yeah. Dallas is also correct. Draw a symbol to summon your monster. Draws a dick butt. Fade Leaf gets it. I would also, I don't know, it's weird, right? Because like I feel like, I don't know if I 100%, I mean, I do agree that that Digimon is more about the taming aspect. Because it comes from the origin of it being based on the virtual pet slash the Tamagotchi, which was all about, you know, not getting care mistakes and molding the stats of your Digimon to get a specific evolution, for sure. I will say some of the later games have focused on collecting though, like Cyber Sleuth. Kirin and I played it, and we had a lot of fun just trying to get every single Digimon. Yo, that's really fun. Fateleaf says, I had a bowling game way back with a programming quirk that it reads off of your CD to play the background music. That's fun. Anyway, so the elephant in the room is that games like Pokemon get to have a complex battle system and stat bullshit because it's a fucking video game, and all that computation is not player facing. So I'm gonna be honest with you, and actually I believe that the young man who did the video that I talked about, he brings it up in his video that, like, you know, in the video games, if I'm fighting a Charmander and I have my Squirtle use Water Gun, the computation there is one click for me. I tap A over Water Gun, and then Charmander is dealt a random amount of number based on my stats, based on the Charmander's defenses, and then the type matchup, in which in this case being 50% more damage, no, times 2 damage because it's weak, except I used a water move being a water Pokemon, so I got the same tech attack bonus that boosts my damage by 10%. Yeah, this computation in a video game, perfectly fine. In a game where the player has to do all that math, absolutely not. This is why I'm actually finding myself thinking, now, some people may not like this idea, because most people are not familiar with the creative process. But the reality is this, okay? If you ever find yourself at a creative deadlock, take a step back and remind yourself that you're not the first person. You're not the first person to have come upon this problem. Someone in the past probably figured out a solution to this problem before. So you should search for those people and see how they tackled this problem. And when I was thinking about, hi Reddy. When I was thinking about how the hell I'm gonna do like resistances and weaknesses, and I was thinking, you know, imagine me, by the way. Imagine me, you know, I'm sitting at my desk, sorting my goddamn Pokemon cards, and then I'm like, man, if only there was a way I could do like type matchups in a way that is like easier or better. And then I was reminded of Pokemon TCG Pocket. In Pokemon TCG Pocket, weaknesses are just plus 20 damage. Now, I'm not saying that in my game, elemental weaknesses will just be 20 additional damage slapped on, but I like the idea of it being a flat number. It's not, hey, Music, are you okay there, buddy? Hey, it's Chemical Zone. Hey, it's my guy. So, what I'm saying is that for elemental weaknesses, I think looking at a hard number of like, hey, if the enemy is weak to this, the attack deals this much additional damage. Now, that I said earlier, narrative conceit altering the circumstance a la Ironsworn? Perhaps something like that. But for now, like, again, in my brain, I'm like, how can we take this? How come, me gesturing to the screen, how can we take this, the elephant in the room computation, and make it easier for players to parse? You know? Because I realize that, you know, in the middle of combat, and again, this happens in other tabletop role-playing games. If you're in the middle of combat, the last thing that you want is to stop and break out the notepad so you can do hard math. You know? And be like, okay, so I'm dealing blank and blank and blank damage, plus blank, now divided by half because it's resisted, and I gotta round up. Those are way too many steps. And another issue with this is that because there is so many layers of computation that you have to do in your head. It means that the player doesn't have as much room for planning ahead and be like, okay, if I do this, the enemy will take X amount of damage. I prefer that. Makes tactical choices a lot more reliable, and it makes the player feel as though their decisions have more impact. So we're gonna lean into that. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Also, Fade Leaf also says that most TTRPGs have no defense stat to reduce damage for that exact same reason. It's true. Dallas says, we need a stream of 1 second of GURPS martial arts technical grappling. It will take 4 hours. I love that. I love that. So this right here, I'm gonna highlight this. This is the elephant in the room, fellas. This is the big bad. This is the big evil don't make me tap at the sign. The sign says computation is the real enemy of this campaign. Can I please have this table exist on the right side, please? Maxi, don't you mean the left side? No, I meant the right side of the screen, which is the left side. When does Frog evolve into Frogadier? I must assume like level 16. Yo, Kendra's back. Welcome back. Welcome back, boy.
Hey, bud.
Kendra, did you get carded? Yes, no. 73% of viewers said yeah. 72% said you're gonna get carded. Did you get carded? Peter says, I remember once reading an RPG comic where at one part they had to take out a bucket of dice to solve grappling. Does it really work like that IRL? Probably. Kendra says, I was not carded, but I did fall down? What does Kendra mean by that? In New York City, Kendra fell down a manhole, ended up with the fucking Ninja Turtles? That's Maxi, all I know about Kendra is that they live in New York City. Yep, that's all you need to know. Kendra says there was a weird hole in the sidewalk, so my croc got stuck, and I absolutely ate shit. Kendra, really? Kendra, you have a tenacity for face planting in New York City. Could this possibly be Kendra's charm point? Anyways, Kendra says my hands, my calf, and my pride all aching. Fade Leaf says the only RPG I know where you need a bucket of dice is Shadowrun, and this is true. Oh, I love dice pool systems. I'm a big fan of rolling a bunch of dice. Also, big shoutouts to Don't Sparse, by the way. So the elephant in the room is computation. Why did I make this box? I made this box for a reason, and now I have forgotten why I made this box. Is it time to explain the combat? I guess I should probably explain the main. I have been deceiving you. That's not true. I have been kind of sneaky about the name of the game. I should just start talking about it because I guess my issue is that I've been so secretive about this game that it's hard to break the habit of just not telling everyone. Originally, my lovely wife and I had an idea for this game about 1.5 years ago. And then a bunch of things happened, so we stopped working on it. And we had a nice hook. So here is the hook, by the way. That says I'm finally going to get up and take a break from working on my own game. Full screen activate and complain if I talk in less than 5 minutes. Hell yeah. Oh my god, Kendra. Anyway, so here's, you know what? We're gonna use this box for the sell, okay? Here is the pitch. Welcome to the pitch, by the way. So I do want to add that everything that we're talking about today is from a game currently in progress. Nothing is final, etc., etc., etc. Don't be mad at me if a feature doesn't make it to the end. Here is the pitch. The current name for the game is Sadamon. It is Sadamon. And in this game, every creature is a Satamon. So one of the hooks that we have, by the way, is that you, the player, is a Satamon. You are playing a Satamon number 000. In fact, you are Satamon 000. The communication Satamon. You're called. Sorry, I forgot. We have a name. We have a name already. You're playing as a human. The communication Satamon. The thing that makes you special is that humans are frail and weak. Humans are smart and clever. They build houses and make themselves clothes and tools, and they have built cities and smartphones and whatever. But they are incredibly frail and weak. I have an idea for an illustration where a tiny little like mouse Satamon is lifting like a 50-pound bag of something, and then the player is struggling to do it themselves. But then this tiny little mouse is doing it all by itself. This world is populated. Oh, hi Belita. Hi Belita. I'm gonna assume that was Kendra's cat typing into the chat. The main hook here is that you're playing as a human. Humans come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Hence their name, human. And although humans they're weak and frail, and they have to make tools for themselves. They have a unique trait. Some of them are able to converse and guide and instruct other Satamon. This is the hook. The hook is that you are one of the few human that can talk and communicate with Satamon. You use this power to explore the wilderness, bond with creatures, to explore the wilderness, bond with Satamon, and recruit them to your side. And there's also another mechanical thing that you do as a human, but we'll get there in a second. You're able to talk. I feel like you may be thinking, Maxi, does that mean that I'm talking to my it's like Agumon up in here? The way I'm envisioning that the Satamon speak in kind of very simple flat sentences or flat words. They speak in single word sentences. Again, your species in this game are the sole creatures in the whole world that are able to create language. That's what makes you special. You're able to communicate, relay complex thoughts, opinions, and ideas, even abstract ideas that other creatures just can't even begin to comprehend. And this is what gives you an edge when it comes to engaging in play. So 2 different species of Satamon can't directly communicate without a human. You're correct. That right now, that is the implication that without human as the in-between, Satamon can't communicate between each other. Aside from grunts and howls and growls and other normal animalistic kind of sounds. So let's talk about. Let's talk about I mean, there'll be room for drama. We'll get there. And again, nothing here is sealed in stone. This is just the stuff that we had already, thought about before between me and my lovely wifey. So, in this world, now you may be thinking, Maxi, it's a creature fighting game. How do we justify the dog fighting, Maxi? And the thing is that it is not dog fighting, you weirdo. It is, in fact, a bonding exercise and a kind of sport. We'll come up with a better word because I realized that if I call it rough play, it sounds like something else, and it does. So we're gonna just flip it around and we're gonna just do this. Let me you know what? I have an idea real quick. I have an idea. Everybody hold on to your. There we go. We're just gonna take this I'm just gonna take this image real quick. We're just gonna use this image, by the way, as the icon for it. Boop. Chad, Maxi didn't like my Snorlax from the Bronx bit. Oh, sorry. Kendra, I swear to God, Kendra. There you go. You know what? Just imagine. We're gonna call it play rough. We're gonna call it play rough for now. Playing rough is an activity that Sadamon engage in which they agree to a sports-like kind of sport and combat. Okay, I'm gonna read Kendra's joke, by the way. Snorlax, use Rock Smash. What the fuck do you think this is? Some kind of fighting pet simulator? Get the fuck out of here, asshole. That was New York? That was New York Pokemon trainer? That was New York Kendra Pokemon trainer? Hey, what's this Snorlax doing here? I'm walking over here. Get this Snorlax out of here. I like how he was from a pirate ship, not the Bronx, but I respect you. You said from the Bronx. Anyways. So playing rough or play rough is the name of the sport/activity. Excuse me? Okay. Play rough / whatever we're gonna call it, because we cannot call it rough play. Rough play we should not call it rough play. I understand that I joke that this engine is called Better DSM, short for BDSM, but we can't call it rough play. We'll come up with a better word, whatever we call it, okay? It is a sports-like physical game that all Sadamon partake in. It is a way to bond, but also a way for Sadamon to resolve differences. So, how does play rough? I was gonna call it rough play again. We really need a better word for it, by the way. We need a better word for what the ritualistic game is called. So let me add a cell underneath this, by the way, please. And I would like you to please, if you could do me a favor and split this cell. Let's call it, oh, here we go. The frame monster track 13. Kendra, explain, please. Computer, can you please explain me Kendra's joke, please? All right, so, we're gonna kind of like. All right, so the beating, definitely we're not gonna call it the beating. Oh, the Fame Monster Track 13. Am I gonna look up which song is number 13 on the Fame Monster? Oh my god. I swear to God, Kendra. The Fame Monster Deluxe. It must be the deluxe edition that Kendra's talking about. Nothing else I can say? I was really hoping for a better punchline, but you know what? You do you, Kendra. In the deluxe version is not Gaga's I Like It Rough. Z Sports? Z Sports is not bad. But what if it's just called Sports? No, that's bad. Z Sports? Max, is there a reason why you chose the name Sadamon? It's because the letter Z is cool as hell. C Sports is pretty good. We'll kind of. I'm gonna put this tantalizingly over here. This was the 10th anniversary deluxe. I love music, says Canada. Okay, that's fair. So, people who are familiar with DSM, this might look familiar to you. The way that I need to find like a better way to like display this, but nonetheless, I'm gonna just kind of like slightly tint these. All right, so the way that the combat works in Z Sports. Oh, for sure. The letter Z is just cool, okay? All right, so during play rough or whatever we're gonna call it. Two sides pick Satamon to represent them. And these two sides face each other within a within a fighting arena. This can literally be like a clearing in the woods. It's not standardized. And these areas are divided into ranges, much like in DSM. So, but in DSM, the ranges have names. In this case, they don't have names, but they are broken into sides. Your side, and of course, the opponent's side. The other side. Before combat, you decide which of your Satamon will go on each side. Now, one of the features in this game that I'm putting centerfold, really centerfold, Maxi? Head and shoulders, center? Front and center, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here's the dealio. Maxi, if there's a battle system, how can you accurately predict what players are gonna show up with every single time? There must be a way for battles to scale. And yes, there is. You're correct. Essentially, battles will have a... right now, just imagine a star rating. Battles scale depending on your star rating. The more Satamon you have, the higher your star rating is, as well with the more evolved Satamon you have. Now, probably there might probably be a ceiling, perhaps, as to how much star rating you can have. But essentially, imagine that if you're coming into a fight with an evolved a second stage Satamon, you would have, let's say, a star rating of like 5, whatever, right? It means that the opponent actually gets 5 stars worth of star rating to fill up their team. So that will lead to scaling. Anyways, now Peter asks, will it be close ranged areas? You're correct. So instead of there being and I've talked about this forever ago, but like I've never liked the concept of the special stat in Pokemon, because ultimately it just means ranged attack. That's all it means. In Pokemon, if a move makes contact, it uses the attack stat. So essentially, if it's a melee attack, it uses the attack stat. So instead, the stats are just melee and ranged. Ranged abilities can interact with targets outside of the range you're in. So a single range can contain any number of Pokemon or Satamon. Forgive me, I'll trip on that forever. So I'm gonna put a little lion in here for Kendra, a little elephant perhaps. And a person for absolutely no reason. Can I get like a person, please? Can I get a person, please? There we go. I honestly hate special attacks, Peter, because sometimes I completely forget which attacks are special and which are not. You kind of just have to know. Like that's the issue, that you just kind of have to know. Now, a star may or may not have realized something, but we'll get there in a second. First off, I'm gonna stretch. That's right, it's already been 25 minutes. We're halfway through this allocated time for the stream today. The stream will end in 1 hour and 30 minutes. Are we gonna do dailies today? Maybe. We'll see. So let me get up. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. Does the cat want out? I think my son wants out. So, let me really quickly, before I forget. Dear friends, Closest confidants, I would like to remind you that this stream is supported by viewers just like you. I have a post on my Blue Sky talking about how my stream is supported by viewers just like you. So I released all of my games as pay what you want with no minimum, because I want everyone to be able to play my games and take a break from this awful world. That being said, I rely, because I don't have a paywall behind my content, I rely on donations to pay my bills and to buy chicken nuggets. So if you would like to support me, please consider going to coffee.com/mkirin and supporting me by leaving a donation today. You can also support the stream by becoming a YouTube member. And if you do that, you get access to cool emotes that appear on the stream, just like these ones. So I'm going to leave the screen up and I'm going to let the cat out. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Yanto! You want, baby boy? And there he goes again, my beautiful baby boy. All right, so no worries, Star. Dale, you are correct. The cat had to go. I guess his soaps were on. This one is safe to close over here. Yeah, no worries, no worries. You do you, you do you. So, Maxi, you said that because it's range based, and each range can contain any number of Satamon. Maxi, you also mentioned that you put an icon of a person here, Maxi. What does that mean? So, let me take a sip of my coffee. You're a Satamon, you bozo! You get to fight as well! Now, when I told Kitty that I wanted to have the player be present on the battlefield, Kitty told me that it was a weird idea and she wasn't sure if she liked it. Namely because she was like, so what, are you gonna like punch a Satamon? You know, is there gonna be like a Pikachu and you're gonna like punch Pikachu? Maxi, am I gonna be allowed to punch Pikachu, Maxi? The answer is no. And as established before, and it will be established in the book really early on, humans, that is you, humans are not very strong. They are not very tough. You don't get to shoot like beams of energy. You don't get to use surf. You don't even get to use tail whip. You can't tail whip nobody. You got no ass. You can't tail whip nobody. So, what do you do on the battlefield? Well, as I mentioned before, as a human, you are able to communicate with your boyos. You are on the battlefield instructing your Satamon as to what the hell they should be doing in combat. Let me actually, this battlefield is looking a little sparse. Let me just put, give me a fish, please. You know what? Give me a crab, please. Give me a crab and give me like a lobster and a couple lobsters back here. There we go. So imagine here's the battlefield, perhaps, you know, at the beginning of a fight. You know, there's you in the back or wherever you want to position yourself. Now, in the game, your Satamon will have abilities and moves that allow them to interact in combat, such as moving a space and then dealing, you know, for instance, let's say, you know, the Satamon can move a space and then attack in the melee of the range that it arrives at. So doing that ability will allow it to hit this crab over here, this crab Satamon. Maxi, will there be a crab Satamon, Maxi? Maxi, can you promise me that there will be a crab Satamon? I make no promises. Though you yourself can make as many crab Satamon, you could do a crab Satamon challenge run only. Now, this brings... Now, you may be thinking, Maxi, I've played DSM, Maxi, And the cool thing about DSM is that you knew what the enemies were going to do always, and that made for tactical choices being clearer and more and faster gameplay too. But Maxi, how am I supposed to know what the enemies do? So, in this game, during the combat mechanism, there's gonna be a whole turn. I don't know if I even want to bother with like initiatives. I feel like that's not really as fun. So I think I'm gonna lean into making it so that you take all of your actions and then the enemies take all of their actions. Or probably more aptly, the enemies take all of their actions and then you follow. I feel like I like enemies taking the first turn. That immediately puts you on the back foot, makes you feel like the underdog, and people love being the underdog. People love coming back from a bad state. So, during your turn, you move your guys, you give them actions, and you do a special thing that only human can do, other than communication. We'll talk about that in a second. When your turn is over, all the enemies take their instinctual action. All Sadamon have one instinctual action. The Sadamon you're fighting in the wild do not possess a human to help them guide them, to help them customize their abilities, to help guide them in combat with a tactician's mind. So instead, they do what they instinctively do. So they have one move and one move only in combat, and they do that move. Some more complex Sadamon may have a random table that they roll on, per chance, maybe. But this means that as part of creating the Sadamon, you also come up with whatever their standard move is. There might be a list of standard moves, and you just pick one of them or roll one of them, perhaps. But nonetheless, this essentially automates the enemy side of the field, which is good, because if there's one thing that I've learned for sure by playing lots of tabletop role-playing games, is that I don't care what the enemies are doing. I only care when it's my turn. That's mostly a joke, by the way. Siska, if you're watching this, I love your NPCs. I love combat in your D&D campaign. So there is one thing. There's one itty bitty itsy thing. As I was figuring out how a thing like combat would work, I realized that there's an aspect of the Pokemon games that is hard to emulate in the tabletop format because of the elephant in the room. Let me tap the sign one more time. I'm tapping the sign right now. So Maxi, how are we gonna deal with computation, Maxi? When it comes to stat upgrades. So, imagine this, okay? In Pokemon, when you're playing a casual game of Pokemon, you want to increase your stats this turn. You click Dragon Dance. The game does all the math behind the scenes, and now you deal more damage. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. How the hell do we do that? In an intuitive, fun mode for a tabletop role-playing game. Because again, we don't want computation. Shoutouts to my favorite song. We don't need no computation. There we go. God, I love music. You know what? Maybe when I grow up, I'll let my children listen to music. So instead, the way that I've decided to do stat upgrades, stat boosts, is that first and foremost, stat boosts are bonus abilities triggered by some moves. Maxi, what does that mean? Okay, so I don't know how to get because Kirin and I have come up with a nice, elegant solution to the problem. I don't know how to explain it without just explaining it. So here comes explaining it. Okay, so in this game, your Sadamon have a number of stats with them: HP, melee, ranged, a bunch of other stats. Now, in the Pokemon games, you can boost the unique stats. For instance, you can increase your attack with the Dragon's Dance, or you can use growth to increase your special attack, or you can use agility to increase your speed, or you can use whatever. You get the point. So, how do we do stat boosts in a tabletop role-playing game where I don't want to, once again, tapping the sign, I don't want to do computation. I don't want to do complex computation, okay? Also, by the way, Dale, congrats on beating Viola, by the way. So how do we do that? And I feel like instead of saying, this Sadamon now has +1 attack, which again, I don't think that's exciting, okay? Because that's clearly what you're supposed to do. Clearly, if you were translating Pokemon 1-to-1, what you would do is that you would say, okay, if you use Dragon's Dance, you now have +1 attack in Pokemon. Dragon Dance equals +1 attack. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? My issue is that tracking stat changes modify the way that you're doing your math internally in your head, and like, I know that you think it's a fun, good time, but there's a reason why a lot of TTRPGs don't do these like hovering around bonuses, because they're hard to remember and it's really easy to just forget you have them. So instead, what I came up with was a nice little solution inspired by the Pokemon card game. Maxi, you've been so incredibly Pokemon card game pilled lately, Maxi. I have been. You're not wrong. Now, in the Pokemon trading card game, certain abilities require energy. And in thinking about energy, I thought, okay, what if there was added effects to most of your skills that trigger depending on you having certain energy? Kendra says, fun little known fact, the Pokemon card game has different moves than the video games. It's true. Yeah, fun fact, in the Pokemon games, there's no such thing as a lazy attack. You can't see it, but it says lazy attack right there. The Pokemon game does not have a spacing out move, by the way, fun fact. Wow, that's really high def. You can really see Sabrina's face right there, huh? Anyways. So I thought, what if there was a resource that is spent by your Sadamon's unique abilities? So that made me wonder, okay, Maxi, so you're telling me that now, in Sadamon, my Sadamon uses, Sadamon uses Dragon Cha-Cha, and now they have attack energy, and now they have attack energy. Now they have attack energy now, Maxi. So my issue with this, okay, is that in the Pokemon games, and let's be honest, okay. We can even ask Dale, actually. You know what, Dale, stop playing Pokemon X and Y for a second, Dale. Hey, Dale, answer me this question, Dale. How many times in the last hour and 44 minutes have you used a move that increased or decreased a Pokemon's stat? I'm probably gonna go with a hard guess that it's been less than 1. Also known as 0. Why? Because when you're playing a Pokemon game, and when you do TTRPGs in general, about only one, says Dale. Got him. Status effects that increase stats don't deal damage. Normally they don't deal damage. So it's not as fun, and it doesn't feel as rewarding. So to me, this here is still a failure of game design. I'm asking the player to spend a turn while the crabs and the lobsters are shooting at you, to have your Sadamon spend the whole turn sitting there just doing the Dragon Cha-Cha. So I was thinking to myself, well, what if no worries, Dale. So I was thinking, if you as the player, you're present in the battles, and really you should be in there, what are you doing other than just giving orders? So I thought I like the idea that the human is kind of like a missing link that makes Sadamon even more powerful and more like more fantastical. So during your turn in Sadamon, during your human's turn, you can use a set of moves unique to you, none of which are damaging moves, and most of which generate energy for your Satamon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maxi, that's genius, Maxi. Maxi, you're so good looking, so smart, Maxi. You're so incredible. Maxi, you're incredible. You have come up with a way to give players essentially a free action every round to boost themselves without having to spend an action boosting themselves. You don't have to have your damage dealers and your tanks and your healers waste an action just boosting up. You have a character dedicated entirely to that. And it makes you as the human even more important. You're there to empower your Satamon to make them stronger. I felt pretty smart about this. I'm not gonna lie. I felt this is really nice. This is really nice, you know? So it means that, you know, when it's your side of the round, you know, and because there's always gonna be more Satamon than there's gonna be copies of you on the board, you get to decide. You start your turn, I feel, essentially by asking yourself the question, you know, what do you do? What are you as the player going to do in this scenario? You know, what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna boost? You know, so this means that this also gives us a nice little interesting design angle, because in Pokemon there's an awful lot of moves that just do the same thing. There's an awful lot of moves that just do the same thing. So instead of having like 30 water moves that all do between, 40 to 100 attack damage, and some of which have some faint effects. What if instead we had a fraction of that, you know? We had, let's say like, 5 to 9 or whatever, aquatic moves, I don't know, water inspired master moves that had unique and powerful effects. Unique effects based on what energy you have attached to that Satamon. For instance, instead of having, I'm not 100% sure on the effects, but let's just say, for instance, let's say that there is a move, a Satamon move that is essentially, punch, big punch. These names are not final, by the way. Here comes one more time. This is not final. This is all temporary. Anyways, big punch, right? Big punch has the base effect that, it deals some damage. It deals some damage, right? Now, most moves, not all moves, but most moves will have a secondary effect where, for each X energy attached, for each X energy, this move does Y additionally. Does extra Y. You know what? Dale, it's probably for the best, Dale. It's probably for the best you didn't catch that Panseer. So, for instance, in the case of Big Punch, if we were to like translate it into what it would look like in game, it would have a range. It's melee. It's a melee attack. You roll attack or whatever. Deal 5 damage. These numbers are all, I'm just throwing them off of the top of my dome, by the way. Deals 5 damage plus 2 for each element energy. So this automatically leads to interesting tactical choices, right? Because let's say you as a player playing as your own human, you can only boost one of your Satamon each turn. You only have one action. Do you want to empower your, I guess, punching lion now to deal even more damage with a big punch? Or let's say, for instance, take a snooze. This take a snooze move, regain freaking 5 HP 5 HP, or 10 if you have sleepy energy. There's no sleepy energy in the game, just imagine it, right? So you're like, okay, you know, I can only boost one of my 2 guys, right? Oh, by the way, energy is spent once you use it, by the way. So, you know, I'm like, I could empower my my Lion Sadamon here to deal more damage, or I could actually, you know, activate the Take a Snooze ability that the Elephant Sadamon has and make it regain twice as much HP in preparation for the enemy's big move coming up, you know? Oh, you're fighting the guy with all the Burmese. Yeah, we fought him the other day. He's got a lot of Burmese, man. How many Burmese does a man need? Count them. 1, 2, 3, plus 5, plus 5. Okay. So that is right there the general idea for how combat is going to work. You have ranges, so it is still a tactical game. You have to be mindful of movement and ranges. I love that Kendra censored that, but they didn't censor their last quote. I'm adding that quote, by the way, Kendra. I'm gonna uncensor your quote though. A lot of pussy-based Kendra quotes today, huh? All right, so I have gotten a little bit lost in the sauce. So before we start winding down for today, by the way, so I know what you're thinking, Maxi. So the combat looks like it's in a pretty good state. We just have to come up with a bunch of mechanics for it, which is fine. I'm very good at coming up with mechanics. Says the person who made all of the mechs for DSM the night before the game came out, because I am a very silly person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is why I don't respect streamers.
So I was thinking with Kitty about how Kendra. Yeah. Dale says, wow, Fruki really does evolve into Frogadier at level 16. Yeah, that's usually the standard for starters. So exploring that's wilderness. So it's actually about the creation system. So what I was thinking for creating creatures, I was trying to come up with a diegetic, an in-world explanation as to why you're building the creature one step at a time. And I'm envisioning that as part of you exploring the wilderness, you encounter a new Sadamon, and you don't immediately see a Sadamon and you immediately fight it. You have to first study it, and I'm holding quotation fingers, by the way. You can't see this, but studying it is you generating the Sadamon. Kendra says diegetic is my favorite writing word. It's a pretty good word. It's also very fun to say. Diegetic. It's useful and so pretentious. Okay, I don't get people be like, it's a pretentious word. Like, that's... Okay, Maxi, calm down, Maxi. Calm down. Don't beat up Kendra. Diegetus. So, the thing that gets me about people being like, that word is pretentious, is that, like, it's a specific word that describes a specific thing. I guess what gets me is that, like, of course I'm gonna use the word that saves me a larger number of words. Like, of course I'm gonna say diegetic instead of saying, you know, it is as though that thing makes sense within the place that it is in. It's just, it saves you so many words. That's the whole point of language, is to make words smaller and smaller until we just communicate through telepathy. Nonetheless, so, Sadamon are created over a course of several steps. Kendra says, I mean, when you're watching a B horror movie and you say, was that big nasty fart diegetic? Like, it's a bit much, but I love it. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that would deal psychic damage to me. You're right. Kendra confirmed to be a psychic Sadamon. So Sadamon are created over the course of several steps. This is called studying / surveying. So, hi Star, we're having fun designing. Peripeteia? What the hell does peripeteia mean, Kenra? Peripeteia. Peripeteia sounds like the name of like an actor. Yeah, that was Jerry Peripeteia, featured in Minecraft 2, the Minecrafting. It is a reversal of fate in the plot. Peripeteia. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. Discovering new Sadamon is part of a system called surveying or studying, in which you, little by little, get to learn a creature. You know, you first, you know it only by what it looks like. Then you develop more and more stuff about it, and once you are confident that that you know about it, you can actually start challenging it for to fights. / engage in play with it. So one of the things, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to deal with this, is that the way that I'm envisioning the game right now is that a lot of the fights are actually Sadamon centered. Because in Pokemon, it's all human centric. You're fighting trainers, you're fighting gym leaders. But in Sadamon, you're actually fighting, you're fighting Sadamon. You're out in the wilderness, and you're essentially, I don't want to say you're walking into the bear's den, but you're walking into the bear's den, And who's the leader in the bear's den is actually the third stage of the bear evolutionary line, of course. So instead of beating the gym, you're actually challenging the Sadamon who live there to, to see sports, or whatever we're going to call it. See sports. It's in the game, so that's the idea, right? So there is a progression where, you have to, instead of challenging all the little gym leaders or all the little people in the gym and then the gym leader, you're instead doing fights to earn the trust of the Sadamon there. And at some point, I would assume, you earn enough trust in that they allow you to let one of them join your ranks, or perhaps you impress them enough that one of the Sadamon in that den offers to join your side. So in that case, it's a much more involved process than just I walk into a bush and a freaking Weedle jumps at me, And I like this system because it puts the Sadamon front and center. It makes them active actors in their joining of your party. As much as I love Pokemon, there is kind of there's a fucked up vibe in the fact that you just take Pokemon and put them in your party, and now they just have to live with you. What if they had families? What if they had sick families? What about their dreams and hopes? Now they just live in a box. They live in a box down by the Pokemon Center by the river. It's sad. So I would very much like to, give these Sadamon a little bit more dignity, in the fact that they choose to join you. They're like, holy crap, that human is really strong. Look at the way it commanded its companions, its other Sadamons. I want to fight with those. I want to fight like those. I want to know what using that energy feels like. Kendra says Pokemon box abolition now. I will say I've always been a little bit. Could somebody please explain to me? Lucario Bulbapedia. Could somebody please explain? Could somebody know who knows Pokemon? Please explain. I just want to know. Oh, that actually makes a lot more sense. Okay, never mind. I thought. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Up until 2 seconds ago, I thought Riolu was the Emancipation Pokemon, and I was very confused. I've spent probably the last 10 years of my life thinking Riolu was the Emancipation Pokemon, and I questioned it, but I'm like, why is he the Emancipation Pokemon? Explain. He's not. He's the emanation Pokemon, which makes sense because Lucario is the Aura Pokemon. Lucario. Yeah, that's right. Lucario is the second track of Lady Gaga's album Art Pop Pokemon. That's right. That joke is only for Kendra.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Could you imagine if Riolu was the emancipation Pokemon? Kendra, you're on my stream. Like I'm gonna yes and you in chat every single time. Anyways, I was supposed to get up and stretch. I'm gonna do it right now because I know my wife is gonna show up here in like 2 seconds, by the way. Okay. Alright. Oh, that feeling when you stretch and then like your entire body is like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I like it. I like being upright. By the way, the amount of willpower required for me to not look up every Pokemon in the Kalos region so I can pick my party in advance. I'm just going by vibes. Right now, my party in Kalos is currently my Frogadier. I did not use the Gen 1 starter they give you at the start of the game because I'm like, no, that's boring. I've used those guys so many times. Kendra, kick your cat off of the chair. Oh my god, Kendra. Oh my god, I'm gonna kick your ass. Anyways, there's some. So I have a Frogadier. I got a combi because, fun fact, one of my favorite Pokemon, and I'm realizing this, by the way. I didn't realize this until recently, but I freaking love Vespiquen. I freaking love Vespiquen. I love Vespiquen. I love her. She's girl bossing every single day. I didn't realize that I love her until I was looking at my Pokemon card collection, and I'm like, I have so many rare Vespiquens. Is it because I love her? Maybe. So I figured, you know what? I've never had a Vespiquen, so I have a combi in my party. I was able to, yes, I found a female combi. That's right. And I'm gonna level that up to a Vespiquen, and then we'll see if I keep her. The other Pokemon that I have in my party is a Frau. Because I didn't know it has the most broken ability of all time. This should be safe to show. Frau. No. Okay, you know what? Kalos. Let's go to Kalos. I would like the Pokemon of Kalos. Oh my god. You know what? It's the dog. It's the poodle one, okay? It's the poodle one, okay? There's no chance that I'm gonna... there's no chance I'm gonna get to... There's no chance I'm gonna find all the Pokemon. It's fine. You know what? We don't have time for this. So, you know, actually, I found it. Alright, where is it? It's right at the beginning of the Pokedex. Is it not? There it is! It's Furfrou! How did Kendra know Furfrou and I didn't? Anyways, I have Furfrou. Furfrou's ability, by the way, is incredible. It's one of the most crazy abilities. It just takes half damage from physical moves. It just takes half damage. Which is kind of hilarious. Kendra used Google. Oh my god. You know it's bad when Kendra's fact-checking me. What if I was Pokemon hustling? I mean, you could. Oh, like the whole time I have a godly knowledge of Pokemon? Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, sure thing, Kendra. I feel like if you did, you wouldn't be able to hide it, you know? So, oh yeah, I haven't actually gotten to the thing I was gonna say. Alright, so, you know I was telling you that, when you're in the wilderness, when you're in the wilderness, you're gonna encounter Satamon that are undiscovered Satamon. There's a key difference in the game in that discovered Satamon are Satamon that are built into the game or submitted by other people. These Satamon have all their information already packaged in like a nice little playbook. I guess you should probably write this down, huh? Satamon come in two varieties. Discovered Satamon are pre-made and come in playbook form. Undiscovered Satamon are player-made one step at a time, but eventually end up as my chat box is covering the thing. I knew you were gonna say that, Kendra. I knew it. Eventually end up as fully complete. End up as, I can't see that corner. Yeah, okay. I thought end up as fully complete playbooks that can then be shared online. You know what? I should probably make it a big feature. Maybe we should make it a big feature that instead of trading Satamon, you trade records, perhaps Satamon, discovered Satamon trading, discovered Satamon trading. That would be kind of neat. There we go. Chat, do you like no sleep, Kendra? Kendra, why haven't you slept, Kendra? Chat, am I MLM? Will we find the answer today? Maybe one of these days. Anyways, the thing I've been meaning to say forever, Maxi, you sure have a nice long-winded way to get to the thing you want to say. Yeah, I do. I'm sorry I'm this way, okay? Anyways, Kendra, first off, I want to say I'm proud of you for doing some writing. You may also want to just sleep. Oh no! Classic Kendra. Well, I hope you have a sketch of that already. Anyways, all right, fellas. Maybe you know what? I've already dragged this on for so long. What if I dragged it some more, huh? So, when you're out in the wilderness, you are surveying undiscovered Satamon. And you're taking notes on how they behave and how they act, and you're learning little bit about them. And this long process is how you create your own custom Satamon. And you're like, Maxi, what would this process look like, Maxi? And then my lovely wife and I realized that we don't have to create it from scratch because it already kind of exists somewhere else. Surveying/studying might look a little bit like this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's right. What if we adapt the systems of Pokemon Snap and convert them into mechanics for the surveying/studying mode, in which you're little by little discovering parts about undiscovered Satamon, and we wrap it up around you learning a little bit about them. So we make we take the otherwise like chore, let's call it a chore, of creating custom Satamon step by step, and we spread it out, we mechanize it, and we turn it into its own mini game that functions kind of like Pokemon Snap. You take photos, you take notes on how they behave, and these things help you, realize what their mechanics are. There you go. They'll ask, why does Professor Sycamore have only Kanto starters? There are probably low on Johto starters at the shop, probably. Oh my god, Kendra. This is called Study and Surveying. It is a mini game on its own, where the player, little by little, learns about these undiscovered Satamon and builds their playbook. Making this a game helps alleviate some of the troubles of asking a player to roll X amount of dice and piece all that shit together in one sitting, aka the way that villagers are made in Iron Valley. We have learned from that mistake. Yo, congrats, Theo. Congrats, Theo. Yo, Kitty was also is running a Vivalion, by the way. I like Spewpa though. Spewpa's a fun little guy. So I guess maybe this might be like, I do realize in brainstorming right now that the setup that we have for Satamon is actually more loyal to the whole, go out there and discover all these little monsters experience than Pokemon is. I love Kendra being in their Minecraft era. I'm so happy for you. So, because I like the idea that, like, other than wandering in the land because it's a ritual that adults do. I like the idea that, like, in this game, yeah, your job is, as a special human, your job is to go out in the wilderness and learn all there is to learn about the local fauna. Maybe that is in fact, as a special human, you decide to study Satamon so that no, I need a better phrasing of that, because like in the regular Pokemon games, it's really more of like a rite of passage rather than like an actual thing that you're doing. I guess one way to look at it would be kind of like the way that the Survey Corps is in Legends Arceus, I guess. You play as a, insert name here, human tasked with learning about the Satamon in the world and relaying. Don't say Survey Corps. Oh my god. Sorry, I didn't mean to trigger Kendra. I'm sorry. I say Survey Corps and Kendra got kicked back to 2015. Ha da ha ha, hit a he hey he ha 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 da ha ha he 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 he. There we go. That ought to put Kendra back in 2015. Can I give you money so I can get those Rain and Bertle plushes I saw? Why me? You just assume that I'm gonna find them? Because I'm an anime person? You're tasked with learning about the Satamon in the world and relaying your findings. That is very silly. I am a very silly person. Because you triggered me, so it's damages. Okay. Got him, boys. And relaying your findings back to the rest of humanization now. The rest of humanity. There you go. That is such a dumb bit. Anyways, humanity, perfect. Is there anything else? I really do like, now that I'm thinking about it, the setup for this game is like kind of like really good, actually. Holy shit, this setup kind of slaps. yo. This is good. This is actually really good. Am I gonna have to replay Legends Arceus to like really get a feeling for the whole checking boxes thing? So I will say, there's actually a lot of already stuff built into the Pokemon, there's a lot of inspiration to take from Pokemon. I'm not gonna go into it right now because I want to maybe spend some time off stream figuring out the way that I want to do creature creation. But the one thing that I was looking at, thank you, Star. You cooking with this one? Thank you. I'm probably not safe to. It might be safe to just literally look up body type. So one thing that Pokemon has. No. Okay, you know what? I'm so silly. Just go to Turtwig for Kendra. Because every Pokemon has a shape. They're called shapes. And I was literally reading this article the other day, and how there's like essentially like a list of official shapes that every Pokemon falls into. Yeah, Pokemon that are just a head, Pokemon that have a head and a base, Pokemon with serpentine bodies, etc., etc. And I'm like, we could use this literally as a base for like the building steps of Sadamon, you know? There are some Sadamon that walk on 4 legs, etc., etc. I think what we might do next session, we might go through a bunch of Pokemon and look at unique features that we could like disconnect from them to put them in the creature creator. Because I was thinking, and you're like, Maxi, what does this mean, Maxi? I was thinking about the Pokemon Tinkatank, and not just because I did a doodle of them earlier today. Not just because I did this doodle of Tinkatank, but I was also thinking about Tinkatank because okay, if you were to look at Tinkatank, right? You know, how would you break down this design into parts that would go on a random table, right? Well, I would say that first and foremost, it is clearly a humanoid body. It has a head, a torso, 2 legs, and 2 arms. And aside from that, its only other feature that I see is that it's wielding some sort of object as a weapon. It uses a tool. Now you're like, Maxi, that's so specific. There's no other Pokemon that do that. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? There are other Pokemon that just wield things in one hand. This could be an element that goes into the character creation process. I don't know if Seishin would count. I guess Seishin would count in that it uses a tool for sure. It wields a sword, but it's a 4-legged boy instead. So that makes me think that perhaps in the creature creation table, we can have like a body type, and then you roll in a number of unique features for that Sadamon. You know, one of those features could be perhaps, you know, it wields some sort of object, you know, as a weapon. Grookey would also kind of fit into that, by the way, with him holding his little stick. You know, that's him holding his goddamn stick. They really did cook with this one, huh? That's a really cute design. Anyways, so as you can tell, you know, what's its shape? It's strangely enough, its shape is oh, its tail. It's a buddy with a tail. Does he have a tail? He has a tail. Okay. So that body type is, according to Pokemon, that is Pokemon with bipedal tail form. Okay. Interesting. I love that this Bulbapedia page is a whole thing of like, actually, Caterpie should be a Pokemon with a bunch of little feet instead of a serpentine shape. Now, Fadeleaf reminds me that I haven't really stopped to think about what we're gonna do regarding the starters. I think the best course of action would be to have those be discovered species, and the player picks from, you know, 1 from 3. I mean, I feel like that's just like a classic thing at this point. I don't feel a particular reason as to why I would change that just to be different. So what are some ongoing tasks for me? We have done a lot of writing on this paper, by the way, and I love that. So let's make a list of. Give me a horizontal line, please. So what needs to happen next? I feel like the biggest thing for me. Excuse my voice breaking. I'm actually 14. Mr. Papadopoulos. I think, even though there's a lot of mechanics that need to happen, I feel like the big bulk of the work for this game is going to be creating the creature creation system. So I think I want to spend some time, start breaking down the Satamon creation system. And that's probably enough. That's honestly probably enough work, honestly. That's probably like enough work. Let's be entirely honest. It's probably enough work. There's something to be said about like maybe perhaps like start breaking down the rest of the mechanics. But I do feel like starting, since the Satamon are the goddamn focus of this game, I think this should be the first thing that gets designed for sure. So I think I'm gonna just focus on this. So break it down into steps, create some sample Satamon, perhaps maybe even with the viewers, and you know, start envisioning, you know, unique aspects to the game. Now, will there be a type matchup system in this game? I think there might be, but it's gonna be really, really limited. A part of me feels like the way that I could lean towards it is just having the really classic, the cosmic elements, such as, you know, water, fire, wind, and earth. Fadeleaf says, I would like some weighted tables or bell curve dice so that certain Satamon traits can be more common or rare. 100%. Are we still here? No, I'm gonna go over here. So I want to bring up that although here's the Satamon, the Pokemon shapes. There are some shape, you know, although this is a list of all the shapes that are available, some of them are more common in the games than others, and I would very much like to emulate that for sure. I don't feel like a Satamon that's just essentially a head should be as common as the humanoid frame or the quadruped. I feel like those will be more weighted to be more common, you know? After all, a lot of creatures in the world we live in are quadrupeds, you know? So there will be weightedness. There will definitely be traits that are more common and some that are more rare. That is 100% intended. So what I was thinking for the elemental stuffs is that I was thinking of it being just essentially the classic elements, you know? Water, fire. Do I have a rock? Mountain, perhaps? What's a better icon for, you know, just put a brick in there. Put a brick in there for Kendra. You know what? Actually put leaves in there. There you go. Yo, it's my wife! My wife is here! Hi, wifey! Hello, love. It's been a big design stream. How you doing? It's far from brick today. Earth, and then cloud with thunder, please. Can I have like an icon that doesn't freaking suck, man? Why do all these icons suck? You know what? Actually, I have an idea. Have an idea, actually. Air, the air element. We're gonna grab you. Maxi, are you really gonna go this distance, Maxi? Is this really required, Maxi? Yes, it is. We're going the entire distance because I must have it look the way that I want it to look. It's the only way, I'm sorry. There we go. So I was thinking of having the elements, the most classic, like, cosmic elements, you know? Maxi, how would the type matchup work in this particular aspect? Well, clearly, water beats fire. Fire scorches the earth, and the earth stands against the air's the wind's might, and the air in fact controls water and turns it into calamity. That's what I wrote down. That's what I wrote down. I'm gonna let this short break go because we're almost at time for dailies. Anyways, so I was thinking of having like basic elements. I'm not 100% sure. The other thing that I was thinking about is having the Fadeleaf, you're correct. Lightning / thunder is part of the air element, hence why I put the little thunderbolt emoji in there. You're gonna skip a break in front of your wife? But we're gonna... Fine. So what I was thinking... I was thinking of having, you know, each Satamon have an elemental affinity, I guess. Having elemental affinities. But honestly, I'm starting to lean towards, and I know people are gonna hate this. Some people might hate this, and I'm really sorry. But a part of me, I feel like I'm leaning towards, this is gonna take a second to look up, by the way. Kitty, how's your day been, my love? Maxi, are you just trying to buy time while you go look up the actual thing that you're looking for, Maxi? Perhaps. Who are you to believe that I just don't want to hear? Maybe I want to hear what my wife has to say, huh? I'm almost there. Oh my god, there's some... No one, Persona 5. Where's Persona 5? This is SMT Apocalypse. Oh my god, I have to go all the way to the bottom for Persona 5? Are you kidding me? At this point, I should have just Googled Persona 5 at this point. Oh, all of this, you don't even have icons, huh? Incredible. Incredible. I wanted the icons, you bozo. It's fine. Copy this, okay? Do one of you have the icons on it? I just want the icons, honestly. Oh, well. So, what I was thinking. Maybe instead of... Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry you've been having a bit of a rough day, baby. So, here's the dealio, okay? So, a part of me is like, I do not want to have a Pokemon type matchups in the style of regular Pokemon. I do not want there to be like a ridiculous table where essentially, anytime there's a Pokemon with more than 2 types, they essentially need their own list of weaknesses, essentially, right? So, my thing is that when Pokemon have multiple types, Pokemon are more interesting and fun, right? A Pokemon like, for instance, Mawile is inherently more interesting mechanically than a Pokemon like, let's say, per se, a Rattata. Inherently more interesting for the way that it interacts with other types, right? So I would like that. But it's also, I don't want to have a stupid type matchup chart where there is 14 types. 18 types? Let me go find the actual type matchup chart right now. Pokemon Gen 9 type matchup. This is... I'm looking at it right now. It's so dumb, man. It's so dumb. By the way, I found a type matchup chart that just looks like Among Us, and I'm not gonna like show it to you, but just pretend that I did, okay? Pretend that you that I showed you, and then you all went, "Oh my god, Maxi, how could you?" You're saying you don't want the too many types matchup chart? That's correct. I don't want the too many types matchup chart. So, we don't want this. I'm sorry, I don't want this. I don't want this. No lo quiero, no me gusta, por favor, no. Don't threaten me with a bad time. I don't want this. I don't want this. Because again, because you're like, Maxi, the type matchup chart, it just makes sense and it's so intuitive. And I'm like, okay. Psycho. It is not intuitive and it doesn't make sense, okay? And as soon as you make a Pokemon with 2 types, you have to essentially just look up what their unique weaknesses are. So if the only way to make more interesting Satamon is to have them have unique resistances and weaknesses and whatever, then why don't we just freaking do the SMT route, man? Where every single guy has unique resistances to unique stats. Why don't we just do that instead? You know? And you're like, Maxi, that means that the player is gonna have to look up the weaknesses to each Satamon as they're fighting that Satamon. That's life. I think that it's not as big of a deal because the player has spent time getting to know that Satamon if they created it, and if they didn't create it, they're playing using a playbook that just has the information right there. So to me, that seems like that's the solution right there, right? So, you know, we'll have a number of elements, perhaps, and we will have, you know, the way in which the Satamon reacts to them, whether it is more damage, less damage, absorb, etc., etc. We'll see how that works. But I feel like this is probably the way to go about it. Just having, you know, a large list of interesting elements. And instead of being, haha, this is a water Satamon, so it must be weak to air / lightning. And that's a little bit less interesting. It just adds for, you know, just more complexity, which I think makes the game overall more healthier. Anyways, Maxi, does that mean you're gonna use the weird elements from Persona 5? There's something about nuclear element that is kind of fun. So I was thinking of having like, because, you know, again, I came up with, you know, I'm not the first person to use the cosmic elements for a game like this. But I was thinking, well, water, fire, earth, and air is like, it's too little. It's not enough. And I was thinking, well, what does Digimon do? Digimon is worse because in Digimon it's just 3 types. It's data, vaccine, and virus. And I kind of just, I want someone to explain to me why data defeats vaccine. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has 10 elements in the pre-Konami games? Really? Like in the manga? That's interesting. I didn't think about that. You know, just looking over the, you know, the persona typings. Fire, wood, wind, earth, lightning, water, fire. Interesting. That's interesting. Just looking over the persona ones, I do like the idea of the almighty type, some sort of like an elementalist ability, particularly because in the Shin Megami Tensei games, when you get to almighty is like a solution to the problem of you know, I don't have a move that won't get negated by these enemies, and almighty would be like an inverse of normal in that way. Kitty, my incredibly beautiful, sexy wife says in chat, for video games, it makes sense to have all these different types because the game can, let me tap the sign, the big elephant in the room is computation. The game computes all that stuff for you. Yeah. I was thinking of adding like light and dark to this, but it also feels like a little bit like derivative because like, yeah, like most games that use this system and have light and dark beat each other. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, okay. It's not really, it doesn't spark joy. And a system like this sparks joy. So we'll probably work on something like this. Perhaps, mayhaps. Oh, by the way, Kitty, my lovely, beautiful, incredible wife. I realized today while we were designing that definitely like the setup for the game makes a lot more sense if the player's mission is really similar to that in Pokemon, where like your job is to study the Satamon, and creating Satamon is now a process called surveying or studying, where you little by little, Pokemon Snap style, spend actions examining a Satamon, taking photos of it, writing down notes of how it behaves, and once you fully build that record, you can now confidently challenge it and its den in combat. So that much like Legends, my wife's so smart. But I like this because this turns the creating of the monster into a chore or a task that you must do before you can play the game into part of the game itself now. So now the player is now spending time in their actions studying and surveying the specific Sadamon. And by the time that you're ready to fight it, you have already brainstormed everything about it, what it looks like, its abilities, and what its evolutions look like. And so you have not only created this cool creature that is unique to your game, but you're now ready to take the next step, which is fight it, so you can have it join your team. We were also talking about how it would be really cool if instead of trading Sadamon in the sense that like I sent one Sadamon from my game to your game, instead we trade records of the Sadamon that we have encountered. We can even like we can make that be part of the fiction of the game, in that like, you know, maybe sometimes when you run into, you know, another human, whatever we call them, you know, they give you their record of the Sadamon that they have found, and that adds them to your game. You know, we can have that be like the fiction of it, you know, and that means that, you know, after someone's played, they might have an entire, you know, Sada Dex, a whole Sada Dex of cool little creatures, you know, and we can add them to the game, envision regions and stuff like that, etc., etc., etc. So Kitty likes it, perfect. And with that, my dearest confidants, it is time now for me to close the work for the day. I'm gonna just stop thinking about work and we're gonna do dailies. Dailies are games that you can only do today. There's a Pokemon one in there, so if you still want Pokemon content, get excited for that. That being said, before I do anything else, I want to tell you that this stream is supported by viewers just like you. Sadamon Gym Leaders, at this point, I don't think there will be. I just don't think that makes sense for the setting. Instead, the big challenges are you challenging Sadamon in their den, where essentially you're challenging the final evolution of that Sadamon line. And upon defeating that Sadamon leader, you earn the right to have one of those Sadamons be recruited into your group, party. I do want to say, by the way, this stream is supported by viewers just like you. If you enjoyed the stream, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and if you have money to spare, become a YouTube member or donate by going to coffee.com/mkirin. If you become a YouTube member, you get a cool badge next to your name that evolves over time, and you get access to cool emotes that evolve over time, that appear on the stream like these ones. There you go. Newly drawn emotes, by the way, with my new likeness right on them. And with that, I'm going to close the timer because we don't need it. I'm going to make chat a little bit smaller. They evolve! Thank you, Dale. By the way, Kitty, Dale started playing Pokemon Y. Oh! Before we move on, Star asks, I think sometime down the line there should be Sadamon PvP rules somehow. That would be neat. So about that. So my good friend Nomiavikshi, the science stream, Nomiavikshi asked if there would be PvP, and that thought kind of like loomed in my head, and I realized that the way that the rules are set up, these rules are basically perfect for player and player fights. So PvP will definitely be a part of the game. If you would like to just engage in the tactical element of the game, you can. Will there be a competitive scene for Sadamon? I don't know. Oh, get ready for someone's custom Sadamon to get banned from competitive because it's too good. Anyways, that's it for me. Damn, I sent that joke before realizing you were gonna say yes. What joke, Kendra? I didn't even show. Kendra says I sent you a joke? What joke? You didn't send me nothing. Anyways, welcome to Dailies! Welcome to Dailies, the segment of the show where we play games we can only play today. First off is Squirtle, a game of doing 4 Wordles at once because it's the only way I can feel anything anymore. Alright, so first and foremost, we open with Rogue, followed by Saturn. And looking at our pieces right now, everything looks good. We don't super have a lot of information. Blimp is gone. I'm gonna still cast Blimp. This should give us the keys to the kingdom. We have the keys to the kingdom now. Is it Broom in the bottom left position? Is it Broom? It was Broom. Bingo! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now on the top left we have OTPU. So it's either pop-up? No, it's not pop-up. It's not pop-up. It's not pop-up because it needs to have a T. Top up? No. It's gonna be like a yo-you. Pouty? No way it's Pouty. I'm putting it in for my wife, but there's no way it's Pouty. It was Pouty! Bingo! Wow, that's crazy. Anyways, we now have kind of the keys to the kingdom. We have PTE on the bottom right. I'm envisioning this is probably a double E word. I can't even see the letters. Oh my god, Kitty, you're incredible. So probably it starts with T. It's TP, isn't it? Yeah! Bingo! I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm so good.
This is why I don't respect streamers.
Okay, so we have TES. TES. The T must go on second position or the last position, and it's not S. It's probably the last position. Perhaps some sort of like, it can be like itch. So it must go here then. It's not stench. But then what could it be then? The T must go here or here. The E must go here, here, or here. I'm gonna have to, unless it can't be a double consonant because we really have nothing else to, unless it's like what? Chest? Chest? Ah! Bingo! Bird up. Ah!
This is why I don't respect streamers.
Wait, I got an epic dragon, mommy?
That's right, fellas. This is you don't fuck around with me. You don't fuck around with me. You'll get God. Anyways, welcome back to Guess the Game, where we guess the game by guessing the game. This looks to me like that this is Brothers in Arms, isn't it? This is Brothers in Arms. This is Brothers in Arms. Hell's Highway. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
I don't respect streamers.
Holy crap! Holy crap! Holy crap! I'm cooked. Anyone else want to go to Vegas today? Anyone else want to go to Vegas today? Maybe Vegas. Fellas, work crimes in chat. Work crimes in chat. I played the sequel to this actually. I played the sequel to this. It was all right. Welcome to Pokedoku, where we play a Sudoku, but it's backwards and it's Pokemon. The categories are Ice, Fighting, Psychic, Dark, Unova, and Hoenn. Well, Hoenn, I'm the most comfortable with, thank God. Unova, I'm not too sure about, but we're gonna have to make do. Vanillish, actually. Vanillite is from Unova. Freaking got him. Thank you, Kitty. A Hoenn Ice Pokemon. That's Walrein, isn't it? It's you know what? Actually, even better. Regice. Oh, I caught a shiny Regice. Fellas, I caught a shiny Regice. In even more pressing news, apparently the Stray Kids did the Love Live trend. The one that goes like Mina, Nanigaski, Chocominto. So I love, by the way, I catch a shiny in today's puzzle and no one cares. Stray Kids does anything. A Hoenn fighting Pokemon. Hoenn fighting, that's Breloom, baby. That's Breloom, baby. A psychic Pokemon from Hoenn? Baby, that's Gardevoir, baby. That's Gardevoir, baby. A fighting Pokemon from Unova? That's Sock, baby. That's Sock, baby. A psychic Pokemon from Unova? That's Cellulose. Solosis. Dark and Ice. Okay, so we know now that Dark and Ice is Sneasel. Cellulose. You got it. Scoliosis. Diabetes. Dark Ice, we know that's Sneasel, right? It's Sneasel, right? It's Sneasel. It's gotta be Sneasel. Okay. Dark fighting. Isn't the evolution of the little panda Pangoro? Pangoro is dark fighting. You can tell because he fight and he's dark. If I get this last one wrong, I'm doing another puzzle, by the way. Dark psychic. Oh god, what the hell's Dark Psychic? Oh no, what the hell's Dark Psychic? I gotta get there before chat does. Dark Psychic. Dark Psychic is probably one of the freaking Ultra Beasts, or perhaps one of the gosh doodly darn. I'm thinking. One of the paradox creatures. Dark Psychic. Psychic and Dark. Dark Fairy is Mawile. There's no way Gothitelle is Dark Psychic, even though clearly she is. Kitty says Dark Psychic is escaping me? Oh no. Fellas, we're cooked. Oh no. Yo, Dale fought Winnie? Hell yeah. We literally said the same thing. Dark Psychic. A Pokemon that's dark, but also a psychic. Dark Psychic. It's gotta. Okay, are there any legendaries? Clearly, if I remember correctly, Darkrai. He's just dark. He's just a dark guy, okay? Pikachu. Kendra says Pikachu. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Pikachu's definitely dark psychic if somehow he had two different Terra types. Yeah, it's Pikachu seen from underneath, actually. Dark Psychic. It's definitely like a new Pokemon. We haven't seen this Mon yet? Okay, so it's from the DLC. It must be Pecharon then. Alright, so welcome back to I gotta do another puzzle because I failed, by the way. It was Malamar or Hoopa Unbound? No, I meant in our game. There really is only 3. There isn't a lot of these Pokemon, man. You know what? Give me one more. No, I would like more, please. Wait. There's no. I would like to do more puzzles, please. Sign in. I don't want to have to sign in. I just wanted to do yesterday's puzzle. All right, you know what? It turns out that Pokedoku decided that I'm not allowed to keep playing, by the way. I do love that you evolve Inkay by just flipping your 3DS around, by the way. That's funny. Anyways, welcome to Game Dull. GameDull.wtf by Mr. Game Dull, friend of the channel. Where you guess the game by guessing the game. Can I guess the game by guessing the cover? This is Steep. This is Kitty's favorite game called Steep, by the way. It's not Steep. Okay. It's some sort of snowboarding game. Or perhaps a game where a man is hanging off of a No, this is clearly a snowboarding game, right? This is a snowboarding game, okay? SSX Tricky? Oh my god, of course Dale would know. Okay, it's SSX something. SSX on tour. It's SSX, the normal one. It is regular SSX. Can you tell that I never played any snowboarding games, and even snowboarding kits on the N64? Can I guess a game by looking at the art? This is Cultist Simulator. No, actually, this is the sequel, House of Hours? No? Blue Dabadida Badassis Kitty? What is this? This looks like an indie game. This is definitely an indie game. Brother, I have a faint feeling that you show me more of the building is not gonna get me there. Fellas, I don't know. Concept art. Is this Life is Strange? No. This is some sort of dark building. It's a building, some sort of like mansion thing. Fellas, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what game this is. Professor Layton? Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box. It was Blueprints.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you are the Blueprints' #1 fan, I'm sorry. You don't exist. Can I guess a game by guessing the keywords, including the word keys, rate, stash, and duck tag? Rates? It's today's video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Should have just typed blue. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Keys, rate, stash, and duck tag. Is this Tarkov? Escape from Tarkov?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. It really was just Tarkov, huh? Alright. Cool. Can I guess the game by guessing the game? I'm gonna always open with Nier Replicant in memory of my wife. She's right there. What do you mean memory of my wife? She's right there. So this is a game. This is a game. You've heard of these games? It's a game after 2010. It's single player only. It is not on the PS3. It is probably a third-person game. It is not Square Enix. Sometimes I can still see my wife in chat. It's so true. It's so true. Grounded? No, wait. Grounded is a multiplayer game. So it's either a role-playing game or a hack and slash beat 'em up. I'm gonna go with a role-playing game. Role-playing game, fantasy after 2015. Science fiction. It could be Persona. Let's try Persona 5 actually. Since I'm kind of Persona pill at the moment, let's do Persona 5. It's after 2016. It is not Atlas. It is on the PS4. A PS4 role-playing game. So it's not science fiction. It's not open world. It's fantasy. I guess it could be actually open world. Still, it is definitely fantasy and drama. Some sort of PlayStation 4 JRPG after 2016. After 2016? After 2016. That means that it was after. It's late in the lifespan of the PS4 after 2016. Yo, Dale, what color of the villain did you get? Kitty got like a nice, like dry colored one, like a nice, like Arizona, New Mexico colors. Just Maxi, what does that mean, Maxi? I'll just put this emoji in chat. Just does it for you, okay? This is what the colors of that villain were. It was pink, dude. Let's go. An RPG single player after 2016. I might have to, but it's still on the PS4. What about Dragon Quest 11? Echoes of an Elusive Age? After 2017. You know what? I should remember it. It's not Square Enix. It's third person plus something else. So there's multiple modes, probably side view. So some sort of RPG where you stand on the side when you go into battle. It's not Uncharted. There's no way. Because there's no way it's Uncharted. It's definitely an RPG. It's also on PC. PC, PS4, and something else. So it's a multi-platform JRPG. Maybe a Sony made one, says Kitty, but I don't think so, because then why would it be on PC? Also, Sony didn't really make JRPGs. I mean, could it be one of the Tales of games? Tales of Arise, perhaps? Let's see if we can get Bandai Namco out of here. 2021! Okay, so it's not Bandai. It's a game from 2021. It might not be on PC. Kitty makes a really fair point. It's a role-playing game from the 2021. From the 2021, single player only. It's not on Unreal Engine, which actually helps a lot. So 2021, that was 1 year into the pandemic. It's a year after my good friend Animal Crossing came out. Is it passable that it is... Could it be Rise? Could it be... No, but it couldn't be Risa, because Risa is Bandai. Could it be perhaps Monhon Rise? Oh baby! Oh, you know what? That's multiplayer. All right, fellas. It is on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PS5, and Xbox. So it's a relatively recent game. I feel comfortable asking for a hint. So hit me with the hint, please. Third-person side view. That actually doesn't help. It's not Indivisible. Indivisible is from before that. Also, Indivisible has multiplayer. So it's a Switch RPG. It's a Switch RPG. It's a Switch RPG. Single player. A JRPG on the... Is it Ryza? Is it actually Ryza? I have to ask. It is not. Okay. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time? No way. No chance. You're still a goof. Kitty, JRPG. It's also on the PS5, so it has to be like a big publisher. Oh, Redis? No, maybe not then. Yeah. Kendra, I know that you live in New York City, and like red lights are like a suggestion.
Amy Kinker just donated 0.00 gigawatts.
I gotta fix that.
And includes a message that reads,
thanks for picking up one of my books, Amy. Sorry about that. Kendra, I know that you live in New York City and like red lights are like suggestions, but like usually in the rest of the world, red means no. I forgot you didn't like my jaywalking is as a way of life. Yeah, I don't support your lifestyle choices, Kendra. By the way, my good friend Ronnie should be streaming today because it's Toys Day. Let me go to twitch.tv /Moontomes. My good friend Ronnie is streaming today. If I remember correctly, they are. My good friend Ronnie is playing Red Dead Redemption today. I strongly suggest that if you would like a good time, please check out my friend Ronnie's stream as soon as I'm done here. Go check out my friend Ronnie. Will be streaming Red Dead Redemption. Literally like in a minute. But for now, let's finish this game though real quick. So, 3 lives, a JRPG or an RPG of sorts on the Switch. That's like the big limiter for me. It's on the Switch. Third-person side view. So at some points, your character is in a third-person point of view, and at others, it's on a side perspective. They didn't say top-down. So I must assume that this is some sort of JRPG in which you're wandering around an open 3D space, and then when you go into battle, you're like side to side. I feel like that's probably what it is. Is this Genshin? No way, but is it Honkai Star Rail? You know what? It's not Honkai Star Rail because it's not on mobile. But what if I guess it anyway? It was made in Unity. Okay. It's a game made in Unity. So, you know, you may be thinking, Maxi, this means nothing, Maxi. Actually, it does, because Unreal games have that, like, wet, kind of like, whetstone look to them. So this game doesn't look like that. A Unity game from 2021. 2021, let me just enter my mind palace real quick. 2021. What was I playing in 2021? What did I want to play in 2021? That was 4 years ago. The game, not wet, dry as hell. This game is dry as hell. This game be looking like Arizona. I know, I'm not talking about a refreshing can of Arizona iced tea. 2 more guesses. Haven't even gotten anything. I mean, like, it can't be one of the big... Okay. It's not Atlas. It's not Squeenix. It's not Atlas. It's not Bandai. It's not Koei Tecmo. Who else makes JRPGs? Who else makes JRPGs from Japan? Sega? No. It could be an indie? I mean, it could be an indie, I guess, but an indie RPG. Sakura Wars? No way, no way. That's Koei Tecmo all the way. I mean, like, my guess is that it could be something like Sea of Stars, but like, I feel like that came out like last year. Like last year, though. Let's try Sea of Stars. What if it's a Sakura Wars to Sega? Let's try Sakura Wars. It was Darkest Dungeon 2. Fellas, thank you for joining me today. My good friend Ronnie is streaming literally right now. Look at how cute they are. Look at how cute Ronnie is. So once again, my friend Ronnie is streaming right now. If you have not, please leave a like on the stream. It actually helps a lot. And with that, I'm going to be jumping out of here. Let me turn the music off because I'm done. I'm going to go for a big walk and I'm going to keep thinking about this game in the interim. So I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Please don't forget to check out my links to support me and this stream. And I'll be seeing you in 2 days. Yo, Wall Guy donated. Dude, let's go. But I do want to say, don't forget, by the way, that I'll be streaming once again next Thursday. I'll be doing some more design hours. So please join me for that. And I'm out of here. Take care. Bye-bye. Beep boop.
Wonderful.